Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now, before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions, as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Now, welcome back to the channel. Now, my name is Chris Cowlin, and this is another episode of The Fan Show. We haven't done one of these for some weeks, so it's good to be back, but we are talking about a number of very dismal subjects today. We'll be talking to a number of Spurs fans from all around the world. I'll be joined this evening by Craig Dearman. Craig, how are you?
Do you know what? All the 5-6 stages of grief, and but we're talking about grief, just massive condolences to Igor Tudor on the death of his father. Obviously, the whole Spurs fan base are thinking about you at the moment. But metaphorical grief anyway. And I think I'm going through the angry phase at the moment now. I was kind of resigned yesterday, and it's weird. I've kind of flitted backwards and forwards since probably December. And I think I'm really annoyed at the moment.
Yeah, I know how you feel. And this is why we're doing this fan show tonight, to talk to a number of Spurs fans from all around the world and get their thoughts and feelings right now. Now, if you would like to appear on a future fan show, please do send an email, tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. If you'd like to just watch and listen to the show and listen to the guests, feel free. And we're live on YouTube, X and Facebook, so please do get involved. Let us know how you are feeling right now. Now, of course, on Sunday, before the Forest game outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, there were thousands upon thousands of fans. I was one of them, and what an incredible atmosphere it was. The Spurs fans lined the streets, flares, people singing. It was a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. What really was. And the players, Bruno Salter, the assistant to Igor Tudor, said after the game that the players felt emotional seeing this and feeling it. But of course, we fell to a 3-0 home defeat against Nottingham Forest. Boos at the final whistle. Igor Tudor has now lost 4 out of 5 Premier League games. And his overall record in all competitions, he's managed Spurs for 7 games, won 1, drawn 1, and lost 5. Spurs haven't won a league game for 13 matches. It's our longest winless run in 91 years, and that stems back to 1935. Spurs have now dropped down to 17th in the Premier League table, and we play next in just under 3 weeks' time, Sunderland away. By the time we do play Sunderland away, that is on the Sunday, and West Ham United host Wolves on the Friday night. So if West Ham win that game, Spurs could be in the bottom 3 going into our next Premier League game. Craig, as you mentioned there, our condolences and best wishes to Igor Tudor. Tottenham Hotspur put out the following short statement earlier today. Everyone at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Igor Tudor's father, Mario. Our thoughts and condolences go out to Igor and his family during this incredibly difficult time. Craig, I just want to go through a few things with you first before we bring on our first guest. Now, there's been a couple of reports out today from the Daily Telegraph, and one of them states that Roberto De Zerbi is open to becoming the next permanent Spurs manager in the summer if Spurs stay in the Premier League. They are also stating Spurs in the final stages of their sporting director hunt. Sources in Germany believe that Sebastian Kehl is in the frame. And they're also stating if they replace Igor Tudor in the next couple of weeks before that Sunderland game, they're already lining up former Monaco boss Adi Hutter, who is currently out of work and is available. His last 3 jobs were at Frankfurt, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Monaco. And also, I know you know this, Craig, but I was on Sky Sports earlier talking to Tim Sherwood, and Tim Sherwood come out and said, I want the job. And he turned around and said, I would keep Spurs in the Premier League. And I said, well, Tim, if you don't get the call them. What do you make of all these stories, first of all? Would you take Sherwood until the end of the season? Would you like to see a replacement now for the remaining 7 Premier League games?
Let's just cover it off backwards, actually. Let's go sporting director. Couldn't care less at the moment, actually. I don't want Langer at the club anymore. So anybody who comes in, I would feel would do a better job than Johan Langer. De Zerbi coming out and saying he'd manage Spurs or be interested in it if we're in the Premier League. There's probably a few managers like that, to be honest. It annoyed me a bit when I read that and heard that. Because I thought, we're good enough as long as we're in the Premier League. But there's going to be managers, there's going to be players that won't want to play for us in the Championship. So I kind of understand that. You know my feelings on that. I want Pochettino. I still can't believe that they haven't spoken to him. De Zerbi, decent manager. Would he fit in at Tottenham? I think it would be a bit of a roller coaster. I think he would clash actually with the board eventually and then walk after a year, which is what we don't want. As for this interim, replacing an interim, and I have to stress we're just purely talking from football perspective now, because talking about replacing a man and sacking a man after he's just lost his father is not a nice thing. So we're just talking from a football perspective. I think the club have to make a change, to be honest with you. I was thinking about this. I thought, does it really matter? Does it really matter if they replace him? I think it probably does. And to replace him with this guy you mentioned that was originally at Monaco, if he was so good, he's been out of work since September, October last year, then why wasn't he first on the list if they rated him that highly? He actually left Monaco after a string of unimpressive results, I think it says on Wikipedia. So he'd probably fit right in at Spurs at the moment. But what I don't understand is, why aren't they listening to a majority of the fan base? That is what I'm annoyed about. Why are they not listening to a majority of the fan base if this is true? Bring in somebody who knows the Premier League and knows the club, and yet we're being linked with this guy who hasn't managed in the Premier League and doesn't know Spurs. I don't understand it. In answer to your question, yes, I would take Sherwood. I would to the end of the season. He's come out 2 or 3 times. Obviously, been mentioned of Harry and Teddy Sheringham mentioned Harry Redknapp, of course. Glenn Hoddle's name's been touted about. Ryan Mason. If Tim Sherwood wants the job, personally at this point and at this stage, I think it is panic stations. I would personally give him a shot. I really would, and bring in a Defoe or something to back him up, and somebody that knows the club. Then at least the board could say, look, we tried everything, even though they've ballsed up everything this season. At least they can say that they tried and actually did what the majority of the fans want. But you're going to be bringing in somebody else that doesn't know the Premier League. Honestly, this club sometimes is so frustrating.
Just a word on the fans, Craig, because the fans were absolutely awesome before that Forest game. And, you know, the amount of people that turned up and the atmosphere that they all created, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful scenes. It was like a mini parade of what we witnessed and what we were in back in May. It was incredible outside there. And, you know, if only the players would give that much, you know, passion on the pitch, because everyone I spoke to, I know I said this on the podcast, but everyone I spoke to before the game, there wasn't one person who thought we weren't winning that game. Everyone was so confident that because the fans had done what they'd done, the players had come out and said all of this stuff all week. Everyone was so confident.
I think some of it come down to team selection. Yesterday, there was a couple of strange decisions, a couple of strange substitutions. Yeah. I think Tudor got it wrong at half-time, definitely. I'd have personally liked to see Javi start after his performance in the week. I think he can probably quite rightly be asking the question, why wasn't I starting, especially after the glowing review that Tudor gave him on Friday at his press conference. So there was just some strange decisions made. The balls weren't getting into Richarlison and Solanke like we'd hoped. And he took off pace, really, in Mickey van der Ven and Jed Spence, 2 of our fastest players. And he said he wanted a bit more dynamicism or something was the word he used. Well, you can't really get much more than Mickey van der Ven. So I don't understand those decisions. And it just fell flat in the second half. And I thought Doggy was terrible when he came on. So yeah, it is a shame that the game didn't match the before. Yeah, very, very worrying times.
Let's get into it. I've already spoken about the league position. I'm sure a number of fans will come on and talk about that today. We're going to give everyone 5 minutes to talk and get through as many people as possible today. We're going to start all the way in Turkey and speak to our good friend Orchi. Orchi, how are you?
You're on mute.
Worried. Sorry, guys. Yeah, just worried. Just worried where this club is heading. You know, like you said, I mean, I pretty much mirror everything that Craig just said. Really, he kind of surmised everything that I was kind of going to say. I mean, this is firmly, yes, the players have to take a lot of responsibility. I think the attitude has been, just terrible. These are extremely well paid international players, and the performances of, our club captain, first and foremost. I mean, Romero has been massively disappointing for me. Again, getting the red card, being suspended for 4 games. It's like they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. When it comes to, actually showing that they care, showing that they mean business, we just haven't seen it. But I think at the end of the day, we have the saying in Turkish that fish stinks from head first. So meaning that, the kind of the top sets the thing. And like everyone has been saying, the
fish rots from the head down is the English expression.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's just, this is, I had a lot of optimism for this season. At the beginning of the season, when, obviously the change with Levy being sent, a whole new management, and people, etc. A lot of positive stuff that came out. But at the end of the day, again, I think if anything, even on that perspective, I feel like things are worse than it was when Levy was in charge. Because for sure, I'm certain that if Levy had still been in charge, Frank would have been gone probably by November, based on the results, based on where the club was going. Probably that change would have been made at least by December. And then so that at Christmas and for at least the January transfer window, some positive action could have been taken. But again, based on we already had an awful injury crisis by the time Christmas came around. And I don't think the club did enough, nowhere near enough, and so, a lot of the problems have been caused by the ownership, the people in charge. I get it. Like when a player is injured and whether they're out for 2 months, 3 months, or whatever, no matter how much money you throw at it, you can't speed up a player's recovery or whatever else. The only thing that you can solve by throwing money at it is bringing in players. And we did not bring in enough players to cover us. Well, first and foremost, obviously, we could have changed the manager a lot earlier because things weren't improving at all. And also, so change the manager and, throw some money at it at January, even if you had to pay a little bit over the odds for certain players, or even if you had to sign a number of loan players until the end of the season. We needed more cover. We needed more help for this squad, and we didn't do that. And again, they went and, so they eventually make the change. And, as much as, I'm sure he's a nice guy and everything else, again, I was baffled by the appointment of, Igor Tudor. You go and bring in a person who has no Premier League experience. No, I know I'm repeating the same things that probably millions of, or hundreds of thousands of fans would probably say. But these are real facts. You're bringing if and especially where we're struggling, we're sliding fast down the table. You want to bring someone. If you're going to bring an interim manager, and you definitely, the club needed someone who absolutely loves and cares about Tottenham and who knows the club, who knows the setup, so that they can just bring everybody together, the team, the changing room, the coaches, somebody who's going to come in who knows the club. And they didn't do that. Yes, you just mentioned it. Tim Sherwood was a very obvious choice that could have been done. Glenn Hoddle was another choice. Obviously, a lot of people are mentioning Harry Redknapp. So bring in some, one of those guys, and maybe bring in Defoe back. I mean, Defoe and Harry Redknapp have actually been on interviews, mentioning that they would have loved to have come in and done a job. And so bring in not just one, but maybe 2-3 people, ex-players and ex-manager, and I'm sure things would have been much better than what
we're running out of time. Are Spurs staying up?
I think if they make the right choices, yes. I think, but we've got 7 games left, and we need to win at least 3, maybe 4, to be safe, right? So that means we need to win half of the games that we've got left.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we will. I've got a feeling that because maybe. By the way, condolences to Igor Tudor as well. Obviously, I lost my mother. It's almost a year now, so I know how awful that feels. So maybe that could be the reason why the club can say, "Look, you just lost your father. You need to concentrate on your family." So maybe like a mutual agreement, parting of ways, and bring in a Sherwood, bring in a Glenn Hoddle, and let's win some matches, and let's survive. Let's stay in the Premier League, and then go in the summer.
Olchi, thank you as always, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Nice to speak to you.
Cheers, Olchi.
Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you. You can tell it's been a few weeks, Craig, isn't it?
You can't remember what you're doing.
Right. We're now going to go to Graham. Graham, good evening. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Craig. Are you well?
Very good.
Yeah,
thank you.
right.
Well, I've got a bit of man flu, but I'm not going to moan about that. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling frustrated, Chris, to be honest with you. Just the results, lack of clean sheets. We have the players there, all right, to get us out of it, but just not performing. Simple as that.
Yeah. What's your feelings about the whole replacement of Igor Tudor, Graham? Do you think he should be given the rest of the season, or do you think they should bring in somebody else?
I think they need to bring in somebody else, Craig's. My vote would go for Glenn Hoddle on the side and Sherwood. They've both played for the club and they both managed the club. They've got the DNA of Spurs, and I think they could get an arm around some of the players and get them performing better.
Graham, do you think that Spurs will stay up? Because I'm sitting here at the moment, and I like to be positive about things, but when you look at our results and you look at the performances and you look at the games under Igor Tudor so far, particularly those in the Premier League, we've been managed by him on 5 occasions in the Premier League. We've lost 4, and each of those 4 games that we've lost, we have been very, very well beaten. Where is our next point coming from?
I don't see it at Sunderland, Chris. I see it at our 3 home matches. They're the ones we have to focus on, and it's starting with clean sheets at home. I think if we can get 3 wins in the home matches and then nicking a point away, I think the away point could be at Wolves. That's it. I don't see anything at Chelsea. I don't see anything at Sunderland. And it's the home matches that will keep us up.
But we've said this before, though, Graham, haven't we? We said this about Palace. We said this about Forest. What makes you think it's going to be any different?
The strange thing about it, Craig, is that our best form is away from home. 5 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats. It's better than our actually home record, which shouldn't be the case. But we just haven't turned the new stadium into a fortress yet. But as I say to you, looking at the fixtures left, I'm looking at those home matches, especially the Leeds one. We need to drag them into the relegation fight big time.
Graham, sorry, Chris, before you jump in, you mentioned there about being, not conceding goals, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to put a picture on the screen. This was Gibbs White's goal. Look at the space he's got. He's standing on the penalty spot. No Spurs player within 3 yards of him. How does that happen? How are these players not defending properly?
Do you know what, Chris? I played in defence when I played a bit of ball, and you were always told to be goal side and touch tight. There's nobody touch tight there to Gibbs White, and that's where we're conceding. As I say to you, you can go back to the other goals as well in that match. We didn't pick up the guy at the far post. He didn't have to even jump for the ball. Just knocked it straight back across the goals. And then the third one, it wasn't cutting out the cross. You got to stop those crosses coming in. That's our problem. Just stopping crosses coming in and staying goal side and touch tight. It's basic football stuff. We're told that from 10, 12 years of age when we're playing football.
Graham, who are you liking watching at the moment? Because I said earlier today, that desire and that heart we need from every single player. And I feel like Archie Gray is certainly given that in abundance at the moment. What other players are you liking, what you're seeing?
I think you're right, Chris. I think it's the youngsters are right that are making us play all right. I'm just disappointed more with the forward line. Kulu, Tell, and Birds, those type of players just aren't putting the ball in the net for us. I think there's 4 goals between those 3 names that I've named. And I just can't see, if we're not keeping clean sheets at the back, we're not scoring enough at the front. And maybe we had it too good with the Canes and the Suns, and then we even sell Johnson, who was our top scorer last season. All our strikers are out. Lancashire, Devine, Moore up front. So serious lack of goals. But I think, I'd give more time to the kids, really, personally, because some of our best, or even some that haven't had enough games, our best result was that Liverpool there, and we weren't playing our 2 centre-halves, Van de Ven and Romario.
Are our players as good as we think they are? I think it's fair to say they haven't performed, but what is the problem? Are they just not a top 6 squad anymore?
I don't think, I hate saying it, Craig, we aren't the top 6 side at the moment. The table doesn't lie. That's why we're down the bottom. We're only in the Champions League by default, let's be honest about it. We won the UEFA Cup. That's why we're in there, but we're not a Champions League team, I don't think. And I think there's just not enough challenging propositions at the moment. There's players, what we call wearing the jersey down to the pitch, and they know they can wear the jersey down to the pitch and not really get hooked because our bench just isn't strong enough.
Graham, lastly, in the summer, if Spurs are a Premier League team, who would you like to see as permanent manager next season?
That's an easy one for me, Chris. I'd take Pochettino back all day long. I think he got us some great results, especially when we were away from the stadium and playing in Wembley, where we shouldn't be getting points at all. And yet he got us top 4 football, and he got us to the Champions League final. And I just think he's a player that you would play for big time.
Yeah. Graham, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, lads. Really enjoyed it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Cheers, Graham.
Right. We're now going to go all the way to Malta to speak to our good friend Melvin. Melvin, how are you? Melvin, hello.
London calling Valletta.
No, Melvin's asleep.
No.
Right. We're going to go to Canada to speak to John. John, how are you?
Well, I'm like all of us.
At least you're awake this time, John.
Well, you've got your Spurs shirt on and you've got a smile on.
Yeah, I'm always pleased to talk to you guys, even if the hospital drugs got to me last time, guys. I apologise for that. Dropping off, it's stuff they give me.
You'll like this one, John. You'll like this one. So we did the ab sale on when was it? Thursday.
Right.
We did the ab sale on Thursday. I'm standing there, and someone said, "Oh, I love the channel." Chatting in a way. Anyway, Craig was talking to a friend of ours, Jen, and Jen and Craig are standing there, and this guy says, "Is this your mum and dad?" So
honestly,
we're going to call Craig Dad in future.
Well, I'm old and both of you probably put together. How do I feel? Miserable. I think that's the best way to describe it. Miserable. You're sort of, how the hell are we going to get out of this mess? And you listen to everybody, and everybody's got a great opinion. First of all, condolences to Igor Tudor. I know what it's like to have to make a journey home for that. Done it a number of times. Okay, we blame them. We can blame. I think an awful lot of the weight falls upon the board. They appointed Thomas Frank and didn't have the guts to get rid of him. He was a square peg in a round hole, and there we were. Here we are in a mess because he couldn't get us out of the mess. Where do we go from here? Well, I hear all sorts of names. All right, okay. The ones that you mentioned are probably okay. Along with if we could bring in, I don't know, Harry. I'm worried about Harry because Harry's the same age as me. You know, who the hell? There's only one person ever want to take on a gig as big as that, and that was the King. So, it's, Sherwood probably. Bring in Tim Sherwood. We've got nothing to lose now. Bring in Defoe with him. I think, that would be a good move. Have him on the sideline as well, giving him a G up because he's got that gear and go, and hope for that.
John, I'm sure you won't mind me saying that you're young enough in years to remember the last time we were relegated, and probably remember it vividly because that's not the sort of thing that you forget in a hurry. Would you say
Alberta? And a lot of people gave me stick in Alberta over that.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can imagine how much stick we're going to get now with social media. Obviously, none of that existed. But when the Spurs went down to the old second division, would you say the standard in the old second division wasn't as good as it is now in today's second division, which is the Championship?
You look at that list of players in the a list of teams in the Championships, and you find me how many have not played in the Premier League, and I think there's about 4. So it's not the place to be, right? You look at that. I mean, I think it's Bristol City and about Wickham and a few others. Everybody else at some time or other has been in the Premier League and have been relegated and have stayed there. And that's the danger we're going to face. It's like getting out of the National League. If you fall out of League 2 into the National League, that's a graveyard. Can you imagine, Stockport County coming to Tottenham? It'd be a big. I think it was you, Craig, that says every one of them is going to look forward to a big day out at Tottenham, looking for 3 points. So everybody's going to want to take points off us in that stadium. It's going to be the big occasion of the year. It's the game they're going to look for when the fixtures come out in June. Everybody's going to go, when are we going to Tottenham?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the danger. That's the danger we're going to face. That's a difficulty we're going to have to face. So if we can turn this around now with 2 or 3 victories and stay up, great. My confidence in that at the moment is somewhat low. And I regret saying it because, you say, I've lived through relegation before.
So you think we're going to get relegated?
I think
Why you're thinking about that, John? One sec. While you're thinking about that, Jimbo says here, Chris, if you think we're going to be in the Premier League next season, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. Sorry, Chris, not a chance, mate. I'll tell you what, on the podcast yesterday, Terry said that he thought we'd stay up. Ricky, Craig, and they both said we're going down. And I'll be honest, I can't see the performances in the Premier League under Igor Tudor. For me, there is no improvement at all to what there was under Thomas Frank. And like Craig just showed there, that goal for Morgan Gibbs-White, the first goal as well, the marking was absolutely terrible. Wow. We can't perform like this. You cannot keep losing against your rivals, the teams in and around. You just can't do that. And, where is going to be the turning point? A lot of us thought it was going to be last week, the draw at Liverpool, and then, of course, the win against Atletico Madrid. But when you're back in the Premier League and you're losing against Nottingham Forest in the manner and fashion that we did, and we're not just getting beaten, John. We're getting very well beaten. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a central defender and a left back for many minutes. I played till I was 52, and I used to say, mark that guy. And I had some rather choice expressions to tell these guys: if you mark him that close, if he wants to go to the bathroom, you go with him. And to see Morgan's White there, standing there saying, "Thank you very much. I've got the ball. Where do I need to put it?" Was, there it was.
John,
it sums it all up. Thanks, guys.
Thanks as always, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Nice.
Thanks, John.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. we're now going to go to Dustin. I gather that it is very early hours in the morning, Dustin, for you in Singapore.
It's 4 a.m. in Singapore.
4 a.m. Wow, what
Do you
dedication?
do you never sleep, Dustin?
Not much. Too angry
What?
to.
I'm not sleeping very much at the moment, thinking about relegation, I must say.
Yeah, I think the problem really has been that the dice has been rolled to change the manager, Frank, but they rolled the dice far too late. And normally when you make managerial changes, for them to be successful, especially if you're going to try to avoid relegation, it's got to be that the team is ostensibly okay but playing below their potential. The manager system is the main problem. The squad and dressing room are in decent shape, and the incoming manager has enough time to get ideas across. None of those things apply to us. Players were injured, coming back from injury, low on confidence, poor discipline. Manager system was part of the problem with Thomas Frank, but the new system is not exactly clicking. And we brought in a manager that's very wedded to very specific things, which is 3 at the back, man marking, and a high press. And all 3 of those things are incompatible with the way that Thomas Frank was coaching us. So you've got to whipsaw into a very, very different kind of managerial style. And then we've got the squad being decimated and the dressing room morale at an all-time low. If you put up slides, I have stuff around that as well. So let me just share. Not this specifically, but yeah. So whenever managers are changed, right? Like Premier League is actually the league where managers are safest for the longest. Premier League managers tend to last longer. And the other part about it is that whenever Premier League managers are changed, one of the main driving factors for it is that it's relegation. So when Premier League managers are sacked, a lot of it is kind of in December during the transfer window. The whole point of, sacking a manager when you're in the relegation zone is to turn things around. But to turn things around, you need players. If you have an injury crisis, you need players and reinforcements to turn things around. We sacked Thomas Frank after the window's closed. When we know we have an ongoing injury crisis, we spent 2 transfer windows knowing that we had long-term injuries to Madison, Kulusevski. Then we picked up injuries to Kudus, and we saw Brendan Johnson during the winter window. So we came out of 2 transfer windows weaker than when we went in. And the other part about it is that for the Serie A, what they do is that they keep sacking managers multiple times, and it doesn't work out well for them. Managerial changes made by relegation threatened teams, the Premier League tends to do better, and if they do make a mid-season change, they generally are more successful when they do it, because they do it in December. You saw on the previous graph, they do it at the right time when they can get reinforcements in the transfer market. Now, Serie A does a lot worse because they have the least amount of stability, and because they make multiple managerial changes in a single season. Majority of these changes end in failure. So our problem is making multiple managerial changes after you've sacked your manager. It's an attempt to add stability in an unstable situation, but we sacked our manager at such a bad time, didn't give him reinforcements. And then now, even if you get another manager in, how much of the window do we have? How many matches do they have left to turn it around and get players on board? That's why when we talk about having a manager, and we talk about, people talk about Redknapp, people talk about Sherwood, and like, oh, they haven't managed for however long. At this point, it doesn't matter how long you've managed, right? Because you're not going to have time to get like complex ideas across. So really what you need is you need a man manager that's going to get players up and get them willing to play. There isn't enough time. If you wanted to get a manager in that would have a style of play or whatever, that was, before the January window. It's too late for that now. So now only options you have are man managers, and there's no long-term manager that's any good that will come at this time.
Dustin, it's fair to say, though, isn't it, that he was meant to come in and make a real impact, and this is exactly what the board said as well. He needs to, get as many points as possible, in fast, and make a real impact for us. And he's managed 5 games in the Premier League, picking up 1 point out of a possible 15. This clearly is not good enough. If you had the choice, would you make the change today? And if so, who?
I feel like it's almost all too little too late. The ideal thing would have been to get Frank out before the window, and I've said that the entire time. I feel like now it's gotten to the point that the thing about it is that it looked like it was turning a corner, because the Liverpool performance was very good, probably one of the better performances we've seen the whole season. The Atletico Madrid second leg was, I think, the best performance we've seen this season, other than the City games. But it's come at a point where it's too late, and it's also come in the Champions League, which I also say performances that I've said previously that come against teams that possess the ball, like Liverpool, and performances in the Champions League, they almost don't count, because we're not playing against teams in the relegation zone, or the teams that matter that we're going to play in this relegation fight aren't going to play that way. So even if it's a good performance, great, but it's not the bread and butter we need to survive. And in the games that we've seen, which are the bread and butter to survive, which is your Forest and your Crystal Palace and everything, those haven't worked out well. So I have to say, I haven't seen enough from Tudor to show that he can get points from those specific kinds of opponents. But even if we change things now, how much time does the new manager have to actually turn things around? And you're really left with managers that are dyed in the wool, like, Spurs people, but don't have experience, haven't been managing for a while. Like Sherwood spends more time as a pundit. Redknapp, is we don't know if he's in the jungle for a reality program, right? So these are the kinds of candidates that have said that they will manage us. And you have managers that are managing, like Robbie Keane, but why is he going to give up his full-time job to come to an interim job? That's not going to happen. So you really have Defoe, Ledley, who haven't really managed at any level. So we're really in a difficult situation now, where we don't have experienced managers that could actually keep us up, that are also Spurs people. And
Dustin,
you don't have any of those.
Dustin, quick last one. Are Spurs going down, in your opinion?
I think that we are running out of games. I feel that I keep saying, Crystal Palace, we need to get points, otherwise we'll go down. And then it just blows up in a spectacular fashion. And then Liverpool, I didn't expect points. And then we I was like, okay, maybe there are green shoots there. And then we go to this game, like, okay, this game, the fans are showing up. Amazing display by the fans anyway, considering the situation we're in. The fans show up, but we have such a damn squid. So we are running out of games to say, this is the red line. If you cross this red line, you die. You've crossed this red line, you die. It's like we've crossed three or four red lines already, and we're running out of time to actually rescue ourselves.
Dustin, thank you so much, and we'll speak to you again very soon.
Cheers, Dustin.
Thank you. Craig, Dustin said there about running out of time. Funny enough, Tim Sherwood on Sky today said it's not too late. Checkmate 7345 says here, it's not too late. You still have 7 games. I agree. I don't think it's too late. If Spurs make this change now, it's like we do have a second chance. If you don't take this chance now, it could be an absolute disaster. I think that, and you know me very well, I'm not one to call managers and say that they should be fired, but you could tell a mile away it wasn't working under Thomas Frank. And out of everybody that comes on this show on a regular basis, I probably stayed with Thomas Frank the longest. You guys, particularly you, Craig, you were saying very early on, don't like the style of football, don't like this, don't like that. Frank has to go. And I was saying, just give him a bit more time. And then Igor Tudor, they've made this appointment, which seemed very strange to a lot of people at the time. But when you can see that something isn't working, you have another opportunity. And it's like on the podcast yesterday when the guy behind me said, don't put Javi Simmons on. Don't make that change when we're 2-0 down. And that's exactly what happened. It's like the fans always see what's going to happen. You sometimes think that, why don't the manager or why don't the board see these things that the fans do? Because, some things are really, really obvious. But I suppose my question to you is, do you think that it is now that we need to make that change to have us another chance? And Bikram says here, my humble request to Chris, can you please see what's up with our medical team? Interview them when will we get all of our players back? Do you know what? I'd love to interview a lot of people at the club, and the amount of times that I've asked for interviews with various people at the club, all of these requests always get turned down, and they certainly wouldn't allow someone like me to go in there and start interviewing the medical team and saying, you know, why is this, why is that? That would never happen. And but you know, we always do request. Craig, very quickly, Igor Tudor, if you had the choice to replace him or not, yes or no, and who with?
Yes, I would. Jesus, sorry, it was timing. Yes, I would. I think you're right. I think we've got a little bit of time left. I'm not convinced, but I think Tim Sherwood, he's come out and he said he would keep us in the Premier League. So let him prove his words. I just think it's a tough job for anybody. I really do. I'm almost resigned to the fact we're going down, but you never know. You never know. Win our April games, we stay up. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's a big if at the moment. Right, we're going to go to Melvin again. Melvin, how are you?
I'm well. How are you guys?
No, hello, Melvin.
Terrific.
Anyways, nice to see you both. I hate talking about this kind of stuff. Obviously, it's not good. I'm really pissed off. I think I've been pissed off since June or was it early June, since they sacked Ange. I've been pissed off all season. I've been pissed off of the direction of the football club. In my mind, I still try to stay in Bilbao, in that mindset of when we won a trophy, of the happiness we all had, because this season's just been awful. The football, I think, following Dustin is very difficult because I love Dustin. I think he's a genius of how he speaks and how he assesses the club. So I'm not gonna try to follow him. I'm just gonna say, I think the football club is letting the fans down. I think we've had wake up moments where managers have pointed out to the club that, you know, this is not how you operate. This is not how big clubs operate. And I say this all the time. We don't operate like a big club. We operate like a business. We operate like, you know, the club is being run by an Excel sheet. It's not like that. You have to operate the club by footballing people, footballing IQs, people that make decisions on a footballing merit. You know, when you judge youngsters, the way there's a plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. It's sad because I look at both of you guys, and you guys live and breathe football. The fans live and breathe football. I was telling my wife, I said, I wish I was there yesterday, even though we lost 3-0. I just wish I was there to support the team, because the Spurs fans turned up, and credit to them and the people who organized it, because we turned up. That was excellent, and I didn't expect it to happen. But listen, I know you guys are going to be here talking all day, but the signs were there. Conte was telling us, Jose was telling us, and Postecoglou told us, listen, this is not how you operate. We had Fabio Paratici at the club, who I'm a massive fan of, and we let him go. Why did you go to Fiorentina? Fiorentina doesn't have the money we do. You know, they don't have the pull we do. He got sick of the owners, sick of this stuff. And, you know, he probably got so pissed off and annoyed by the management and the people in charge that he's like, I'd rather go to Fiorentina and be in the Serie A, be in my home country, and do a good job at a smaller club than do a bad job at a big club. And I'm just, at the moment, you know, people say, oh, we're going down, we're going up, we're going to stay up. It's just like, and I'm sitting here watching my club on fire and thinking, I'm just in Bilbao. My head's in Bilbao. I'm just like, I don't care. Fucking, I'm so pissed off. I did not see it play out this way from the summer. I did not see it play out this way. A relegation battle. We won a European trophy a few months ago. Did you see the people on the high road? We're a big club. Why is this happening to us? It's because of their mismanagement. It's because of their arrogance and laziness. And and these words, I'm hurt as a fan. It's painful to watch. What if we go down? I'll still support the club, by the way. I'll still go to the games. I think I'll go more to the games if we're in the championship, because I'll be the true supporter. There'll be less fans in the stadium. I'll get maybe better seats than I usually get, because I'm a real supporter. If you cut me, I won't bleed red. I will bleed white, because I love this club. And whatever happens, they will suffer with money, because they will lose the money. And it's not financial, but the fans would suffer. But the fans will always be there to support the team, whatever happens. We lost yesterday 3-0. But it shows me that the true fans are still there. I'm pissed off at this club, because it shouldn't be like this. Honestly, I hate coming on these like emergency pods, I call them. You know, it's like you're trying to assemble the Avengers to discuss like this fucking. Oh man, I hate this. We shouldn't be talking about this. We should be talking about, you know, us building for the future and us going on and being competitive and it's bullshit from the club. It's a load of shit. And I used to watch all their stuff, you know, press conferences, Johan talking, Vinay talking. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. You know, if you go back and you look at the video of them when they appointed Frank, and he said, oh, he stood out, and there's like these metrics that they followed. Bullshit. What did he stand out? Long throws? Is that what came across? Stability?
30 candidates.
Yeah, 30 candidates. Bullshit, man. They sacked Ange because they didn't have a spine to go through that again. It would have been Ange's third season, and it would have been better than this shit. It would have been better than this shit. Ange should have still been in charge, and given the third season, we would have had a European Super Cup, because Frank bottled it. Ange would have won it. I bet my life Ange would have won it. And I hate that I love this club. And I hate that I cannot just, you know, turn off the TV. I can't do it. Honestly, I tried to turn off the game when it was 2-0. I just can't do it. I can't live without this club. I can't. So I'm in this position where I still love the club. Whatever happens, I just love the club. Even with these owners, you know, like I said, in my head, I still live in Bilbao, Chris. It's just, I'm trying to go back there and think, where did we go wrong? Because this club is in a position where it's rowing, you know, it's trying to row a boat with no power, with nothing. They hired a manager who plays a back five that doesn't suit our system or the players we have or the Premier League. Doesn't know the Premier League. And you think, why did you sack Ange then? Why? Because that was a lot better than whatever shit you gave us this season. I would like a statement from them to, first of all, apologize to Ange, apologize to the fans, and be like, maybe we made a mistake. We fucked up. Because this is painful. This is painful. Honestly, it's so disappointing.
Melvin, I felt every word that you've said, and in the comments, when you go back, just look at the comments, because so many people agree with every word that you have said. And I kind of expected this from you, because we haven't done one of these fan shows, I think, for 5 or 6 weeks. And for the last couple of weeks, you've been messaging me a lot saying, you know, when are you doing the next fan show? And I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have done today if it wasn't for Craig, because it's not easy talking about this stuff at the moment, particularly, given our league position, given the fact that we haven't won a Premier League game. And, after the international break, we'll be going into April. I'll tell you, it's really, really tough for all of us that live and breathe this club, like you mentioned. Really, really tough for all of us. We're all feeling it. And, I wasn't joking earlier. I've had sleepless nights thinking about relegation and thinking about Spurs. And that might sound ridiculous to some. But, it's just the way people are built. It's the way people are sometimes. Some people, deal with things in different ways. Melvin, before you go, and I know we've given you a lot more than 5 minutes, but if people are as passionate as you coming on and they want to talk more, then, they're very welcome, as you are, as you always are. Anything else you want to get off your chest?
I don't know what more I can say. If we stay up, I'll be delighted. When we scored the goal against Liverpool, I don't think I shouted as much in a long time. I just think, listen, the fans need to get behind the team. I think the mentality of the team at the moment needs to be, we're not too big for a point. Honestly, we're falling this much down that a point nowadays is good.
Do you know what? Can I interject there? Because I think a lot of people have said this, and I've said this as well in the last few weeks, that the fans have really got to get behind the team. We did that on yesterday on Sunday before the game, and we did that in the stadium as well. And the disappointing thing, I actually feel let down as a fan, because like Craig said earlier, we know that all of these players are capable of so much more. Yes, we've got injuries. Yes, we've had injury problems for the last couple of seasons, but we all know that these players are capable of better performances, better attitudes, and better performances, and certainly better results. So they need to deliver. They need to give more. They really do. And Igor Tudor, if he is going to stay in this position, he needs to get more out of players. I said to Dustin there and Craig about the impact. When an interim manager comes in with so few games to go in the season, given our league position, they've got to make an impact. Tudor has got to make an impact. 1 point out of a possible 15 is not good enough. It really isn't.
No, it's not. It's 100% it's not. But I think the mentality of the team, I think they went into the Forest game thinking we have to fight for a win. When the truth is, where we are as a football team at the moment is that we have to fight not to lose. Honestly, I think that's where we lost it. I think Forest came and they said we're gonna put 11 men behind the defense, and we're not gonna concede a goal. And that's where I think we went wrong. We went into that game playing a back five and pushing up for a goal, which never came. And we hit the bar. We got unlucky. The referee also didn't help. In football, sometimes you just need a bit of luck, and it didn't go our way. It just didn't go our way. I just think their chances just went in and ours didn't. And I know it's not a nice way to phrase it, but you just think you have to play to not lose, and you have to be compact and not concede goals.
I was going to say, Melvin, I think when an interim manager comes in as well, they've got to make the team harder to beat. And I go back to that frame that Craig put up earlier, Morgan Gibbs-White. Everything just seems so easy. And when you look at the 4 Premier League games under Tudor so far, the Arsenal game, 4-1, we got battered. The Fulham game, yes, it was 2-1. A lot of people on paper would think that's a close game. It wasn't a close game. We got absolutely battered in that game. Crystal Palace, 3-1 defeat at home, and then 3-0 against Nottingham Forest. We've been very well beaten in all 4 of these games. And I go back to it again. When you have a manager come in, particularly when we've got so few games in the Premier League in a relegation fight, you've got to, the manager has to make you harder to play against. And, even Sherwood said on Sky today, if you can't win the games, then don't lose them, because that's a perfect example of like Leeds United at the moment. I know Craig has said that he thinks that Leeds might be dragged back into it at some point, but Leeds always seem to be picking up a point here or there, where Spurs are losing games and Leeds are gradually picking up those points and climbing up the Premier League table. Spurs are 17th, 1 point above the relegation zone, and we could fall. And I tell you what, Melvin, I think that all of us are going to feel physically sick on that Friday night if West Ham beat Wolves and we look at the league table and Spurs are in the bottom 3. We are all going to feel sick.
At the moment, I look at the team and worry, because I think, where are the goals coming from? And the only player that I can think of is Richarlison at the moment, and he's the only player that I look at, and I'm desperate for him to score. And I know, in the last couple of years we joked around because he's not good enough this, he's not good enough that. He's the only one that can find the net in this current team. He's the only one that's consistently scored this season. I think he's near 10 goals and assists combined, for the season. We need players like him to keep scoring. We need to feed him chances. He needs more service and good service. I know Matisse Tell is playing well, but Matisse Tell needs to pass more at times. He takes on, I think, the Atletico chance, he could have squared it. He can't be selfish in these moments. It's about the team. It's about Tottenham Hotspur. It's about us staying up. So in moments like that, he needs to be a team player and do what's best for the team.
And I also think, before you go, Melvin, I also think that a lot of us, if not most of us, expected Xavi Simons to start the game against Forest, particularly how he played against Atletico Madrid. But like Craig said in the intro, I thought there was a number of weird decisions against Forest. Yeah.
Bergvall should never have been played. Bergvall was not fit. He seemed out of it. I think Xavi was in good form. Xavi's fit. He should have played. There was a number of decisions, like you said. It was a strange one from Tudor. Last thing I'll say, I wouldn't sack him. I think it's too late to sack him now. I think if Tudor was signed in, for example, in December, then maybe you would have sacked him earlier. But it's too late now. The club needs to. They hired him. They need to stick with him till the end. I think it's too much to have 3 managers in one season. I've never seen that done in the Premier League. Well, from a big club anyway.
Melvin, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for being so passionate on here. This is exactly why we do these shows, so people like you can come on and talk about exactly what you want to, and get things off your chest. And we will talk to you again very soon.
Cheers, Melvin.
All the best, Craig. See you.
See ya.
Right, we're now going to go to John, who's been waiting very patiently. John, how are you?
I'm good.
John?
I'm good.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you. All things considered, with Tottenham Hotspur. But glad to be on. And I think it's I joined one of these quite a long time ago now, maybe about a year ago. And I was comparing looks to Craig, which made me depressed, clearly, and I didn't come back. But anyway,
I was going to
say,
both of you look like Tudor's brothers.
Yes, and it's not my fault that we've got Igor Tudor, that's for sure. But on that note, obviously condolences to him and his family.
Yeah.
It's just typical Tottenham as well, that it arranges to sort of also contend with and empathise with his personal situation. There's been a few things that have been said by everybody that covers some of the things that I have on my mind, but the first thing is that I agree with Melvin about the board needs to apologise. And I find it shocking that someone like you can't get them to have a candid interview, be it with the medical room or someone else. There needs to be a bit more transparency. And I thought that was part of what was going to happen after Daniel Levy, and it just hasn't happened. It feels cowardly, quite frankly. It feels cowardly. It's prepared statements when it suits. And it's platitudes and generic kind of statements like, we want to compete on all fronts. Well, I think I put in the chat here, 17th again, ole, ole. I mean, that's what we're hoping for now this year. It's ridiculous. you know. And I must say that in terms of, I was always underwhelmed about Thomas Frank, not because I don't think he's a decent manager, but I just thought from the start it wouldn't be the right fit. And I didn't think it was the right fit because if you're going to sack Ange, and I kind of again agree with Melvin, I go, why are you sacking a manager that's just won your trophy? However spectacularly bad the season was in the league, there were some extenuating circumstances. But if you're going to sack him, go and get a manager that is the same profile. Go and get something that has continuity, so that you're not continually changing. You know, and so those sorts of things are really frustrating. If they'd gone and got Iraola, for instance, instead of Frank, he's a different type of style of manager, closer to Ange or Pochettino in his own way, you know. So it's those sorts of things that are very frustrating. I do think there's incredible bad luck to have. Well, it's ridiculous bad luck to have so many injuries for 2 years on the trot. Yeah, how can it keep happening if it's for 2 years on the trot? So what is going on? What is going on? Yeah,
John, can I just
Can
I just interrupt you? Sorry, because something has just come out from the Times newspaper, and they have just stated that discussions have been held over Roberto De Zerbi taking over at Tottenham immediately, as well as in the summer. A permanent role.
Good.
With one proposal, including a release clause in his contract to account for the possibility if Spurs get relegated. Would you welcome Roberto De Zerbi at Tottenham?
Well, look, I say good because I think he's got far more proven quality than Igor Tudor. He's an upgrade. I think he tries to play the right style of football. I think he would come in and has the natural ambition. Even when he was at Brighton, he was trying to get them to think about Champions League football. So he is the sort of person who can come in and motivate people. We want to stay, so I don't care about that release clause. I was actually going to say, one of the things I was going to say is, if we're really ambitious about staying in the Premier League, proven that is out there, go and pay him 10 million or 15 million to keep us in the division, and give him an 18-month contract. And if he goes after 18 months because there's chaos with the board, well, right? So at the moment, it's like, it's about staying in the division. And if you ask me who's more likely to keep us in the division or Sherwood, I think it's De Zerbi. I think he's a better manager. End of story. I like the emotional idea of a connection to the club, but I just don't think that there's anybody that's not been out of the game for too long or has the right caliber as a manager to come in and do the job. It's all high risk if it's a Tottenham DNA connection right now. So if De Zerbi's available, and if you ask me if it's Sherwood instead of Tudor, well, yeah, I'd probably take it. But I'm not I'm not sure. I'd be slightly more optimistic, but I'm resigned that we'll go down. I am resigned because I think that this group of players now is so shot of confidence that they don't know whether they're coming or going. And the goal, for instance, that's been highlighted against Forest, that is a consequence of players not knowing where they're meant to be playing anymore. That's the reality.
John,
that's the reality of tactical square pegs in round holes continually. Yeah.
John, last question for you, because we've got loads of guests to get through. A simple one. Are we staying up? Yes or no?
We didn't get the answer. We've lost him. John, yes or no?
Yeah.
Are we staying
up? I
up?
can't hear you either. Are we staying up? What was the question?
Are we staying up?
Are we staying up? No. Yes or no?
Honestly, I think no.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No.
Thank you, John. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Cheers, John.
Right. We're now going to go to another John. John, how are you?
Yeah, well, a bit angry, if I'm honest with you.
I don't blame you.
They're my emotions at the moment. I I appreciate, and condolences go out to Igor Tudor and everything else, but dealing purely with Tottenham Football Club, we need to make the change. It's clear as day. I don't know what we're sitting on our hands for. We've got 3 weeks. 3 weeks for somebody to come in, dare I say it, put their arms around the players, try and lift the mood, and try and salvage something from this absolute shambles of a football club. I would go purely to Tim Sherwood, purely based on the fact if he said today on Sky, I'll keep him up. Go on, him. Because I've just run out of all ideas of what to do.
I don't think De Zerbi would put his arm around any of the players, though. Do you?
No, I don't think he was the right choice for our club anyway.
I don't personally.
Another mistake.
John, let me ask you about De Zerbi, because in my opinion, I think that De Zerbi would definitely play the style of football that Spurs fans would want to see. It is entertaining.
We've got to get away from this at the moment, playing the Spurs way, doing things the Spurs way, all of that. We've got to get away from all of that. We've just got to purely strip it back, get back to basics. And I think the way Sherwood talks is just exactly what we need to do. Play players in the right positions and go for it. When we played Liverpool away last week, I probably with a number of fans thought we were just going to get whacked, right? We didn't have Romero and Van der Ven. We had Dragusin and Danso. Yes, they're not as good of footballers as those two, but Christ, did they put an effort in? Did they put a shift in? Did they care? Those two don't. And as soon as we bring those two back in, it falls to shit again. I think what we do is we park that and we play players that want to play with their heart and soul. Yesterday, again, was a shot. I honestly, going to the game, I thought I put my mortgage on us winning that. I thought we'd win that. Forest, we'll beat them. They'd had a midweek. They've gone to penalties. They've been away Thursday. We'll beat them. We set up 4-4-2. Our Papsar and Archie Gray in against their three in midfield. How can you not see that? Playing two right backs on the right hand side, taking off Van der Ven and Spence at half time. It baffles me. It really does. I mean, do we realise what situation we're in here? Because whilst we're in amongst it, I can't see where our next win's coming from. Genuine. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Do you think they waited too long to sack Thomas Frank, John?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. He was horrendous. Yeah, absolutely. It did a waste. How can you go that length of time with him as the manager? We get to January and decide to sell our top scorer from last season. Forget what we think about Brennan Johnson. He was our top scorer last season and he's good for a goal. So we sell him and bring in Conor Gallagher. Despite all the injuries, where's this loans? We bring some loan players in, bulk up the squad, get some bodies in. Tudor's made that point, and I understand where he's coming from. He says he only has 12, 13 players, and he does. But at the same time, I mean, who's running the club? That Johan Lange, we're bringing in somebody to support him now, I'm reading today.
Well, he said there was nobody available in January that would improve the squad, apparently.
Oh, come on. I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. You could get people in that. You could get players in. No doubt about it. I just think we don't know who's running the club. It's toxic. I got the impression yesterday the fans were magnificent yesterday, magnificent. And when during the game, it's almost like we're past the aggressive, angry at each other type of thing. Kind of past all that. We're kind of resigned to the fact that the club don't care. And the players, the players, we always keep talking about, we've got quality players, we're good enough. Have we, though? Are they good enough, really? Are they? I mean...
They're better than 17th, John. Come on.
I like to think they are, yeah. But they're not top six that we keep thinking they are.
We're not top six, but we're better than 17th.
Well, yeah, well, we'd like to think so, but that's where we are. So, are they?
I like your straight talking nature. And when you came on, a few minutes ago, you said that it is clear as day about Igor Tudor. That is exactly my attitude as well. And I can't believe when you saw it wasn't working under Thomas Frank, these games that we were playing, you're thinking, you need to make a change, and we didn't, and we've waited too long. Yeah. Are we going to wait too long again under Igor Tudor? Do you think they have to make the change? Do you have confidence they are going to make the change?
They have to make the change, yes. Am I confident they will? No. Given the fact that it's international break now, bringing somebody in a majority of the players aren't going to be there. So I kind of get it, but we do this week. He needs to be removed from post. He needs to be, and his backroom staff, the lot. And I would 100% just go for Tim Sherwood till the end of the season. Right, you've got 7 games. 7 games. There's 21 points. Go do your best. Go and do it. And, you know, he's got his reputation on the line for that. But I think we need somebody that's close to the club in charge there that can relate to the fans and connect it. We do. We can't. I mean, saw this today where we linked with some guy from Monaco.
Yeah.
What? What's that about?
Yeah.
You know, he couldn't. And the Jewish club with a manager called Adolf. Really? You know, it's not going to work, is it?
Who would you want to see as our full-time manager if you had the choice, John?
What if I could choose anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody, I'd have Tuchel.
Tuchel. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
but you'd
not
have to
really-
back him.
That's
But
not
it's not
realistic,
realistic.
though, John.
It's not realistic, no. So realistically, if we go down, then I'd go and get Scott Parker. If we stay up, then next season, I mean, everyone's championing for Pochettino. I don't know. It would appease a lot of the fans, I think. But again, it comes down to the fact that the board don't back the managers anyway, does it? Do they? You know, I don't. I really don't know. But it's every time and time again we get these decisions wrong. And I'd love to be in that interview process of when we recruit managers. What goes through what goes through that? What gets Thomas Frank to get the Tottenham job?
Yeah.
Really, how did he get that job? Realistically, you know.
Well, he didn't get the one at Chelsea or Man United, did he?
No, they wouldn't have him. No, but we have to. But there needs to be a change. There's got to be a change this week. It's got to come. It has to. Otherwise, we'll go down, and I don't think we'll come straight back. I think there'll be a lot of skeletons that we don't know about financially. We've already borrowed money against next year's TV. We already borrowed against next year's TV money. We owe over 300 million in transfer fees. We owe however much money on the stadium. Yeah, we're not in a good place, and if we go down, I don't think it will bounce straight back.
John, thank you so much for joining us, and you've been a great guest. If you'd ever like to come on the main podcast, please do send me an email, and we'll arrange it. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, please
All
do.
right, nice one.
Thanks, John. We'll speak to you
Cheers,
soon.
John.
Cheers,
Thanks,
bye.
mate. Good
Right.
guest. Good guest.
We're now going to go to Paolo. Paolo, it's not your name, is it?
No, it's Paul.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. Pissed off with Spurs. Pissed off with everything that's gone wrong with it. But when the going gets tough, the tough get going, they say. Unless you're Tottenham, when the going gets tough, the tough hide.
Go on, Paul. Get it off your chest. Get it off your chest.
Well, how did we lose yesterday to Forest? We should be better than Forest, surely. But then when you look at the goals, where was Van der Ven for the defending the corner that come in, where they scored their first? Gibbs White had the freedom of the park to score, didn't he? That's poor defending. But in reality, we've just got a match or better West Ham's results for the remainder of the season. And they do have no. I can't see where we're going to win from because we've got no confidence. But that's in reality what we could be doing. We're not going to do that under Tudor, are we?
So they've got to make a change then.
Well, I think so. We just need somebody in there that's going to put a bit of steel in us, stop us conceding stupid goals like we did against Forest yesterday, and put us on the right foot. That's what we've got to do.
Who's that person?
Well, anybody other than that knows the game, knows the Premier League. Tudor doesn't.
Well, Thomas Frank's out of a job, apparently. So.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get him in.
Paul, can I ask you, Paul? After that 1-1 draw against Liverpool, and then after the 3-2 win against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, how are you feeling at that point, and how are you feeling going into that Forest game? Because, like I said to Craig and some of the other guys that have come on this evening, that there wasn't one person that I spoke to who wasn't confident that Spurs were going to win that Forest game, given that, the fans were up for it, the players, they've come out and they've said, yeah, we're going to give it our all. We've got to turn this season around, and, we've got to do X, Y, and Z. I want to see, as a Spurs fan, I want to see them running through brick walls. I want to see them playing like their life depends on it. Did we see that yesterday? No, we didn't. Are we going to see it in the remaining 7 Premier League games, do you think?
Well, we need to, otherwise we're down, don't we? But I felt we turned a corner with the Liverpool game. I was really pleased with the performance, and Vicario should have saved their goal and we'd have won. It would have been would have changed our season. But yeah, yesterday we'd gone backwards. So are we better playing the bigger teams? Does that mean we'll get a result at Chelsea and lose all the other games, or does that? I don't know. We seem to turn it on or are better against bigger teams. Not Arsenal, obviously, but I don't know. Honestly, it's very bleak at the moment. But if we get another performance like we did at Liverpool and we get a victory, then it changes. That's the nature of football. But at the moment, I can't see how. I think, Vicario's been a shocking keeper all season. He's not a Premier League keeper, is he? And that's one of our problems. We say Romero and Van der Ven are world class. Well, we played better with Danzo and Dragusin at the back, didn't we, against Liverpool?
I don't think I've heard that world class tag for some time.
Well, Romero won the World Cup. He's obviously world class, isn't he? And everybody wants Van der Ven, Liverpool, Man United, at Real Madrid. They all want him because he's quick and he's good. But where was he for defending the corner yesterday? That's not world class. When we had Vertonghen and Alderweireld, we were pretty much solid, weren't we? There's something wrong because on paper, and I know we don't play football on paper, but on paper, we've got a better squad than 17th. But we haven't done that all season, have we?
Yeah.
Why? Thomas Frank's tactics were wrong. There were moments yesterday or Sunday where Romero had the ball. There was Pedro Porro had the freedom of the pitch wide right. And what does Romero do? He plays it through the middle to Bergvall, who's heavily marked and loses it. Forest regained possession. Why are we doing that? That's simple tactics not to do that. You play to somebody that's free, surely. I know that, and I'm not a professional football player. What are they doing?
Paul, last question. Are we staying up or not?
Depends if we do better than West Ham. No, we're going down. Because we've got no confidence.
Yeah.
But it didn't do Villa any harm to go down for a season, did it?
Well, I just live in hope and pray that we stay in the Premier League, because I think there's so many people think that if Spurs go down, Spurs then come straight back up. And I tell you what, when you look over, not even recent history, as far as the back as when the Premier League started, there's so many teams that have gone down. We've never seen them again.
No, it's tough, but we're better than what's there. Surely we're bigger and better than what's there.
Surely, yeah. Paul, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Paul.
Chris. Thanks, Craig.
Cheers,
Speak
mate.
to you soon. Cheers.
Bye.
Right, we're now going to go to Gucci. How are you?
Hi, good evening.
How are you? You all right? How are you feeling?
Disappointed. Angry. And feel like the players are just not playing as a football team and looking out for each other. I've come on here to try and be positive and to say it'd be horrendous if we went down, but I can remember we went down. I think it was 77, when we went down. And I agree with your talker earlier when you're saying about the Championships. It is even harder to get out of this year than it would have been the old Division 2 back in the 70s. But looking forward is what I want to do, which is hard. And I'm clouded with one thing, which we all try and say we want to get Pochettino back, which is very passionate, and I'd like the same. But I've got a question for you two. If Robbie Keane came in now and they gave him a 2.5 year contract, and he motivated players, being an ex-player and hunger and desire that we need, that to keep us up is more important than Pochettino coming back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what the club want. They're obviously talking to Roberto De Zerbi about the the permanent position. I know I've been saying I've been trying to let Craig down gently for the last couple of months, saying that Poch is probably not coming back, and I know a lot of people have got their high hopes on Pochettino returning. But what I would say, and I've said this many times, unless the football club change in the way that they do things, decision making, transfer windows, there's so many aspects. Honestly, I think we could talk about this subject all night. Unless we change the way that we are doing things, since we moved in that stadium in 2019, 6 permanent managers, 4 interim appointments, we can't keep going on like this. You need to have a plan. You need to have ambition. You need to have a clear structure in place for us to even compete for trophies and compete on all fronts. And it's such a strange term because it was at the start of this season. They sacked Ange Postecoglou and they said, we want to, we need to be a football club that are competing on all fronts. We're sitting 17th, 1 point above the relegation zone out of all the cups.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
That's exactly what the chairman said after Levy was fired. He said we want to compete on all four fronts, but they haven't backed whichever manager's been there this season. They haven't backed him in this January window without any hesitation. We needed new bodies, we needed new energy, we need a level of ability of footballers. And not being funny, if Levy was still there now, he'd have found money to get those players. And I think we've just, as a club, been left to drift, and it's worrying. But it's almost like we're at that stage now where we've definitely got to change the manager. I'm sad about his dad dying, but we've got to change the manager because there's not been any reaction. And we've got 21 points to fight for. And every one of those points, we made the point about Leeds earlier, they scrap and they fight. Forest yesterday, we made it far too easy for them to score goals. We were wide open. And football's a simple game. You just got to put players in the right positions, motivate them, have a cohesive unit, and move forward. And defend as a unit, attack as a unit, battle as a unit. And we weren't doing any of that yesterday. As soon as that first goal went in, and that was a bad goal to let in as well.
Gucci, can I ask, do you think that the board are going to make this decision? Because yes, it will look bad on them, but if they don't make this decision, Spurs could ultimately get relegated. So rather than actually putting up your hands and saying, look, we got this appointment wrong, it hasn't worked under Igor Tudor. And also, I suppose I should ask you that if it was Roberto De Zerbi coming in now until the end of the season, and they did have that clause in the contract that if Spurs went down, he would have the choice whether he wanted to continue or not. But then if he did keep Spurs in the Premier League, it would certainly give him a very good start in his managerial career going forward for next season because, we all know what he's about and we've seen him in the Premier League managing as well.
He's a proven manager. He does need backing, and he would probably get us out of the shit. So if that is the fairly concrete route that the club are going to go down, then I would back that. Because the other side of the coin is that Tim Sherwood or Robbie Keane or Glenn Hoddle, if you look at it from a human perspective, say you were Tim Sherwood and you wanted your credibility to stay intact, it's nice Tim wants to get us out of the trouble, but what if he didn't? No one wants to be the manager that took Spurs down.
Yeah, very true.
That's the problem. So you need to have a manager with characters, with balls, with ambition, with determination, and those players aren't bad players. Their confidence in football is a massive thing.
Yeah,
and they need to get the confidence back. to start that, they need to get not letting goals in. And then from that, pick up the odd point here and there. And, it's very worrying, but I don't want us to go down. And I had a conversation with somebody, a Spurs fan, before Christmas, and he said to me, I want Spurs to go down because then we get rid of that shit at the top.
You won't. It's the exact opposite will happen. Anybody who thinks that
Spurs to go down, but they haven't backed the managers, and it's a very, being a Spurs fan, you've got to be an internal optimist, Chris, as you are, but you really are. But it doesn't have to take you through the mill being a Spurs fan.
Yeah,
and all we can do is hope that they've got to make the decision to change the manager.
Yeah,
whether they will. I think it's 80-20. They will make that decision on a mutual benefit scenario because of his dad. And then from that, they build going forward, But yesterday was such a disappointment because all 3 goals were avoidable. All 3 goals, and then you go back to when we played Liverpool last Sunday and Richarlison scored the 90th minute. I punched the air with absolute delight, but it wasn't really delight. It was relief. Just to get the point, because that almost felt like it was a turning point.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't understand his tactics yesterday with saying Van der Ven didn't have the pace. He's one of the fastest players in our squad. And he gives his balance on the left-hand side. So he should have played.
Gucci. Sorry, we've run out of time. We've got to bring other guests on very quickly. Very quickly. Are we staying in the Premier League?
Yes.
Yes or no? Yes. Lovely.
Gucci, you're a great talker. Because we haven't done one of these fan shows for a long time, we've only given people 5 minutes today because we knew that it was going to be a popular one. But on a future show, we'll give you a lot longer because I can tell you've got a lot to say, and I love that. So we'll talk to you again very soon.
We've got to stay up, but we need to change manager.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, Gucci.
Cheers.
Thank you.
See you later.
Right, we're now going to go to Paul. Paul, evening. How are you?
How are we doing? How are we getting on?
Good.
Oh.
How are you feeling, Paul?
Not great. Not great. Look, 44 years a Tottenham fan, and I don't think I've never seen it as bad as this. It's really disheartening at the moment. Just the players don't seem to have it in them. Now, whether that's coming from the manager or the training pitch, it just doesn't seem to be happening at all from us. I think the appointment of Thomas Frank didn't inspire me right at the start. But look, when someone comes in like that, you're absolutely going to give him your backing and hope that it all goes well. But it just never took off at any stage. Just never took off. And to be honest, look, we're probably calling for Daniel Levy to leave the club for years and years now, but the grass isn't always greener. And I think vast majority of Spurs fans will agree that if Daniel Levy was still in charge, Frank would have been gone in October. We probably wouldn't be in this situation. But we waited too long. We waited way too long. And then we got to a January transfer window where we bought Conor Gallagher and some young fella to go into the under-21s that nobody knows about, and sold Brennan Johnson. That's not a transfer window. That's not a manager being backed. And then they went away and had the cheek to sack him without backing him. None of it made sense. None of it made any sense at all. Then we move on to Igor Tudor, who came in as he was being branded a relegation specialist. That's a red flag immediately. This fellow only gets a job when a team's in trouble. So you expect a bounce, but we've had nothing. And from a human point of view, and this is where I fear that the board are not going to make a decision and keep him there until the end of the season. This is where I fear, because from a human being point of view, he should have been sacked at half time away to Atletico Madrid for what he did to Kinski. That's my opinion. What he did that night was an absolute disgrace to any footballer. I know Kinski made mistakes. That's fine. He's held his hand up, and he wasn't the only one. But to put a player out of nowhere into that kind of situation and drag him after 17 minutes. So yes, it got slightly better after that. The defence seemed to have a bit more confidence with Vicario behind them. But it's just, I think it's just rotten to the core at the moment for whatever reason, right from the top, the people that are making the decisions. And I fear that they will not make the decision to get rid of him when they absolutely should. And it really does worry me. You're going to ask me the question again. I'm going to answer no. I don't think we're going to go down. I really don't.
Where are the points coming from, Paul?
You know, if you're going to pick out teams, I think bar Chelsea, I think they're just as bad as we are. They're just in a different position. But we are absolutely as good as the 7 teams that we have to play. We absolutely are. It's just getting a coach in there, just as I think it was Melvin said it earlier, just strip it back to basics and realize that, look, 3 points isn't a must all the time, but a point absolutely is, or not losing absolutely is, because 1 point here, 1 point there is going to get us out of this mess. It absolutely will. We need to stay out of that relegation. So I fear that if we drop down there on the Friday night when the league resumes, we may not come back out of it. It's going to be so difficult. Like the players looking at a league table like that and seeing where we are, 17th is bad enough. But you go down into 18, bottom 3. That mentally up there is just going to drag people down. Not just the supporters, but the players have to be looking at that and how are we going to get out of here? It's so hard to watch at the moment. I still have faith. I still think we are going to stay up. I really do.
The 3 games that we play in April, Paul, are Sunderland away, Brighton at home, and Wolves away. Out of those 3 games, how many points do you think Spurs are getting? And I take your point. And I love your positivity. But I feel like I've been here a few weeks ago, and I feel like you look at the fixtures, and when you look back at, say, the last couple of months, we scraped a draw at Burnley. We lost at home against Crystal Palace. That defeat at home against West Ham, the defeat yesterday against Forest. When you look at some of these clubs and you look at the performances and results, I'm just trying to be really realistic about it. And I know that all of us are saying, where are the points coming from? Out of those 3 games, how many points are we collecting?
I'd fancy us to get 4. I think Leeds will beat. And maybe a point away to Sunderland.
I'll take that right now. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Paul, love your positivity.
Hope that kills us, as we all know. And that's
yeah.
But hopefully we'll stick around.
Paul, thanks so much for joining us. I know you've not been on for a while, so it's nice to see you back with us.
Thank you very much. Not at all, anytime.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Take care, lads.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Right, we're now going to go to Darren Altman. Darren, how are you?
Hello, mates. How you doing?
Hey, Darren.
Yeah. Were you there yesterday?
I wasn't there yesterday. I got offered a ticket, actually, but I said I refused to go. I refused to go. I mean, I just want to say that the rhetoric that comes out of the club is just nonsense. They put out this campaign, to support the club. You were there, Chris. You saw it with your own eyes. Apparently, there were like thousands and thousands, maybe 10,000 people all lining the streets, all wearing white, greeting the coach. The fans did their part. They were told to support. You did your part. You were there. I would think that every Spurs fan yesterday, pre-kickoff, would have thought, come on now, this is it. We win this one. We win ugly. We kick on. That's our catalyst. and we couldn't even do that. We capitulated again. It's just so worrying. It's just so worrying. I don't see us. It's like Thomas Frank Mark II. I don't see a style of play. I don't know what's going on. The substitutions. It's just like Frank again. The formation. There's no running off the ball. Players are static. It's all hit and hope, speculative long balls and long crosses. It's just deeply, deeply worrying. I'm bereft, absolutely bereft. I don't know what to think. Don't know what to think. Are we? And then all these people saying, "Oh, it's Tottenham. We're too good to stay up." No, we're not. No one owes us a living. We're not too good to stay up. If we carry on playing like this, it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good.
Have they got to sack him, Darren? Have they got to move Tudor on?
If you keep him, you're going to get, plus ça change. You're going to get more of the same. If you sack him, then you're going to get a whole other mythology, a whole other style of. We haven't got the time unless another manager goes, right, this is what I want, and really lays it on the line simply so everyone gets the gist of it. I'm not a manager. I've never been coaching, but how long does it take for you to switch a whole ethos, a whole style of play? Do you know that?
Well, I don't think you can get any worse because we've picked up 1 point in 5. 1 point in 5 games. So 1 point out of a possible 15. I think that you could handpick, a lot of managers with Premier League experience to come in and get more than 1 point with this group of players. I know a lot of people in the comments are saying these group of players isn't that, they're not good enough. But, let's be honest. Come on. We've seen these players play far better and give more grit and desire and passion in other games. We know that they are capable of a lot more. And the thing that is really worrying me, Darren, is that when the players turn out on the bus yesterday and they would have seen the crowd, and I tell you what, it was unbelievable. The crowd were absolutely awesome yesterday outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And when the players turn up to that, if they're not up for it, after that, then we are in big trouble. Because
100%.
what else can the fans do to support this team?
That's
And
exactly
even in the stadium before kickoff, it was electric. It was goosebumps on my arms. Honestly, it was. I love that. And when we win a corner or we were on the attack, and it was a really good move. There were a couple of times where I heard that roar, and we haven't heard that for a long time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I loved that yesterday. And I didn't even mention that on the podcast, Craig, because we were all, very negative yesterday. But that the few occasions where we heard that roar, they were so up for it. The fans, the players have got to give more back. They have to.
Precisely. So why give a performance like that second half where it's just hit and hope? Why there's no running, there's no movement, there's arms in the air. I mean, how can you do that to that crowd? How can you do that? It's like it's not spiteful's the wrong word. I just don't understand how you can pay back the people that have shown you their love. It's like a sort of battered wife or a husband that goes, "I love you, darling. I love you, darling." Bang. How can you carry on doing that? It's woeful. I mean, and I want to mention a name. Because I know that I was mentioning it in our little group chat yesterday. Solanke's a striker. I don't get him. I mean, look, she would have been more use on the play. She would have been more use. He scored 3 goals this season. He's a striker. He's a number 9. And everyone that says, "Oh, he plays for the team. He does a lot of running." I'll do a lot of running. Give me a pair of shorts and a T-shirt and I'll run around that stadium. I don't get what he does. He's missing. Kolo Muani, he scored, 1 Premier League goal, 2 Premier League goals? If we had a striker, Chris, we'd be deadly. We've got Richarlison. Okay, he's got a bit of tenacity about him. But even him is like once every so often. We don't have recognised strikers. We've got number 9s that can't score a goal. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You turn on to Talk Sport and Sky. You do the lot, Chris, so you know better than me. You've got Arsenal fans and ex-players feeling sorry for us. saying I don't want you to go. Ray Parlour today saying, they don't look, Tottenham are. Really? They should be laughing at us. They're not. They feel sorry for us. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We're a laughing stock. Yeah. And I'll preempt your question. Where are all the points going to come from, Darren? I've got no idea, because every team will be licking their lips. Do us a favour. Go out there, get a goal, and they'll capitulate. Just get a goal. Go on. Whether it's a corner or penalty, get a goal, and they'll crumble. We're easy. We're soft.
We're easy to play against. I said this earlier, and it's funny because Craig and I were talking on the phone earlier, and both of us were asking each other where are the points coming from, and we were like, I don't know, and then we're asking all you lot.
Sunderland have just come up into the Premier League. They've beaten their arch nemesis away at the weekend. They're going to be flying.
Yeah,
we ain't going to get a point in Sunderland. You're joking, aren't you?
No, and that atmosphere is.
Do you know what, Darren?
Big.
Do you know what? A lot of people said that about Liverpool. When I was on the way to Liverpool, a lot of people turned around and said, you're wasting your time. What the bloody hell are you going there for? And then, of course, we thought that would be a turning point. So you never, ever know in the Premier League. You've always got to live in hope. You've always got to try and be positive about your team. And no matter what, situation the team is in, we've all got to get behind them and support them. We might not agree with how the club is run. We might not agree with the manager in the dugout or some of these players, underperforming. But, somehow we've got to get behind them, because I certainly do not want to be visiting Championship grounds next season. No offence, but, it would just be a disaster for the football club going forward. And like I said earlier, so many people think that a team like Spurs, if they went down, they'd be straight back up, by winning the title and, coming back up to the Premier League. You certainly do not want to be in that position. No way.
We lose if we go down. I'll say if we lose close to £300 million all told.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I feel sorry for everyone at the moment. I feel sorry for everyone. It's an utter disgrace. It's despicable. It's the board. It's the players. It's everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, how you cannot get up for a game after seeing what you saw yesterday. Again, I wasn't at the ground yesterday, but 10,000 people all lining the streets, welcoming them, shouting, singing their hearts out. How you can fold like origami for your fans who've paid to see you? It's despicable. It's despicable. Should be ashamed of themselves.
Darren, it was only 10 months ago since me, Ricky, you, Craig, we're all standing in that plant pot having, a fantastic time.
I know. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every time I come on to these chats, I said it was our chance to kick on Champions League football, Champions of Europe. Come on, who wants to join us? And now we've got people running from us. It's embarrassing, Chris. You'd think that they would go, oh, Spurs, best ground in the world, best training ground in the world, best facilities, Champions League. I mean, it literally does not get better than that if you're on English foot. And you got Semenyo, doesn't want to join us. You got Morgan Gibbs-White, doesn't want to join. You got all these people fucking off, not to come to Tottenham. It's embarrassing. It's utter, and how we've got here, well, we all know how we've got here, Enoch. And they should be ashamed of themselves. I did the stadium tour a few weeks ago for the second time, and Ozzy was showing us around. What a gentleman he is. And I was asking him, and he cut him open. He absolutely bleeds Tottenham Hotspur, that man, And he was saying, financially, we are so secure. The club have got nothing to worry about. He said, but they do. Even he said they do not invest in players. They just do not invest in the pitch. They're more concerned with bloody Tyson Fury and concerts and go-karting tracks, and they don't want to put their money in them where their mouth is. I know it's despicable. I know the wages are absolutely laughable. 200, 300, 400 grand a week. But you got to speculate to accumulate. You got to put your hands in your pocket. Otherwise, you are where we are, at the foot of the table, relying on bloody other teams. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting. You got Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans saying Tottenham Hotspur relegated. It's unheard of. Well, it bloody won't be in a few months' time. I'll tell you that. It's disgusting.
Darren, thanks so much for your passion that you brought on this channel tonight. We all feel exactly the same. We can't. I'd love to challenge some of the people that come on here and disagree, but I can't. Yeah, Darren, thanks so much. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, mate. Lots of
Cheers,
love.
Darren.
Bye.
Honestly, it's just where we are at the moment. We're going to go to USA to now speak to Wes. Wes, we haven't spoke to you for a while. How are you?
Yeah, just no, I can't hear you guys on your side, on Chris.
Can you hear Craig?
Can you hear
want
me?
me just to go?
Yeah, go on, Wes, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, how you guys doing? I haven't seen y'all in a little bit. It's good to see you guys. We're in the dumps, man. We really are in the dumps. For the fan base to all come out like how they did Sunday, and that's what the players gave, is diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical. And every single one of them players, as they should have been for this whole year, should be ashamed of themselves, because I don't feel like they put in the necessary effort to at least fight. We can talk about they're not good enough, and the coach with Tudor and how he sets the team up and not starting Xavi and everything and so forth. But at the end of the day, those players are not given enough. All those players that did play, that even was in the starting 11 at the first half, they're all good enough to get us out some games and for us to get through and get some type of points and get something positive. Not one of those players are like completely dead players that we have to get rid of immediately. Like they're going to now, because they're just showing nothing. But none of those players should be giving us something more, and none of those players are. And Romero, one of the ones, he's one of the ones I really key at, because he let in the goal and he wasn't even marking anybody. I think it happened in the second half. And he just stood there, then was pointing fingers. There's no leadership quality about him. It's the same with Van de Ven. He should have played a lot better. I understand he's playing out of position, playing left back, but he asked you to do a job. Tudor asked you to do a job. Do a job. You can run. We all know he's pacey with the ball. He could have made more happen. He should have did more with Tell. I feel like Poro playing right mid, and Spence, I think they were trying. Nothing really came out of it, but I looked on the other side with Van de Ven, and he really didn't do much at left back. And I understand he probably not used to playing that for so long, but didn't give anything, And then really the only key player that's actually trying is Archie Gray to me. Archie Gray and Tell, Archie Gray more than Tell. Tell, he's been able to get into, and he's the only one who tried to go behind the line and everything and try to make stuff happen. And some of his shots is completely off. His shooting is not that good, but he's at least trying. But Archie Gray, to me, he's been more standout performer for the last couple of days, for the last couple of games. Is Archie Gray, and I think that's only because of how, he's young and just want to go and want to put something forward. But the rest of these guys who are veterans, been here, done that, they should be given a whole lot more than what it is. The Richarlison and Solanke didn't really give nothing up top at all. And they were both bought for over 60 million, and they're absolutely giving us nothing, So right now we're all the way in the dumps. I think you're going to ask, could we, do you think we're going to get relegated? I think so. The way it's looking now, I do think it's a possibility that we're really looking at relegation, because I just see nothing from this team, and I don't think it's going to continue with Tudor. I think Tudor, he made the wrong decision benching Xavi after him having a great game in the Champions League. You bench him and only play him for 20 minutes. That's ridiculous. You're just completely killing whatever confidence just came from him playing in a good game against Atletico the last go around, and then you bench him for pretty much most of the game. You're not going to have him. He's already struggling this year, just getting adjusted to Premier League, and you just kill his confidence again and throw him out there for silly minutes. That's like, I don't understand that. He's going to have to really answer for that, if he even has the chance to answer for it, if he's not fired by the time he does his next press conference. So it's just like, I don't know why he should have kept from that momentum of what he was getting for the Atletico game. He should have pretty much played that same lineup, really, and played the same exact way, to me. At least because that was the only way that's the only time I've seen us play consistent and play very good offensive type football. That's the first time I saw us ping ponging around passes. That's the first time I saw that with an actual good amount of pace with it. And he completely just kills it by changing the whole lineup. You put Van de Ven at left back. You're putting, you're putting Spence at the right. I'm like, why you didn't just go for the last lineup? None of them were hurt from the last game. It's confusing what's going on, and it's really confusing for the whole season that these players are just not playing up to snuff and allowing themselves to be the laughingstock of pretty much international all of football right now. We're the laughingstocks of all of football. We're the only ones everybody's talking about, and it's all for the negative reasons. It's all for nothing good. People literally want us to see us go down. It's ridiculous, and we as fans have to sit here and look at that crap. It's ridiculous, man. Like I went out to my college. I'm back on, I'm on campus for my last year before I graduate. And I wore my Tottenham shirt one of these weeks, and somebody was like, "Well, you really want to wear that right now?" Like, I don't even know if I should have this up. That's how bad this is. Like, it's embarrassing. And y'all, and you guys, y'all in the area, you actually pay tickets to go see that crap. Like, they told us, "Oh, we need to go show support for the team." Show what support for what team? That's not a team that plays out there. This is not. It's not a team that plays out there at all. That's my little 2 cents. I know my 5 minutes is up, but that's what I wanted to say. We're in the dumps, and all those players, if they thinking about trying to go out and they thinking they're going to get another deal to go to another club, good luck. You're going to be on their bench. You're going to be a bench warmer. You have shown nothing to even start for any of those other clubs that your agent is going to try to get you to go at. Even if it was Xavi, I know Van de Ven shot it down saying nobody said nothing like that. If it was Xavi, if it was him himself, good luck with you. You're going to have a horrible career if you think you're going to leave a club like that and leave us in relegation and think you're going to do better somewhere else. You're not. They're going to have you on your bench. You'll be a bench warmer. You're going to get paid, but you're going to be a bench warmer.
Wes, thank you so much. We'll speak to you soon.
See you guys. Come
Cheers.
to Spurs.
I tell you, this show has gone exactly how I expected it to. We're now going to go to our channel regular, Lee the Dorset Spur. Lee, how are you?
Oh, Lee.
Yeah. Hello, mate. Oh, yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. You know what it's like. You just have to grin and bear it and take it on the chin and see where it takes you, don't you?
Where is it going to take us, Lee? Where are these 7 games going to take us?
I can't see anything other than a relegation, mate, to be honest. And that's like, me, I'm a happy clapper. I've always tried to see the positives. But I've got to be honest, I just don't see where the points are coming from. I just look at it and I think, before this game, I was thinking there's no one in there really that you should be fearing. Apart from Chelsea, where you're not going to get anything because we never get anything. Same with Anfield. I didn't think we were going to get anything there. Everywhere else, I thought, they're winnable games. You would say that they are winnable games for a Tottenham team. But the way these guys are playing, it's just, it's mind-boggling. I just do not understand the lack of effort that seems to be coming. You said it yourself a little bit earlier about if they can't get pumped up when the fans are out in their thousands on the street singing, chanting, flares, flags. If you can't get up for that, there's got to be something wrong with you, surely. I just honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Paul Robinson, after the game, said he doesn't see any structure with this Igor Tudor system, formation, etc. And the likes of Danny Murphy on Match of the Day and also Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports, they've both come out and said that, Tottenham need to make a change. They need to change Igor Tudor for these. We need a new manager in for these remaining 7 games. You as a fan, Lee, do you think that you would have that renewed energy and more hope that somebody else comes in, replaces Igor Tudor? And, like I said to Craig earlier, it's kind of like we've got another chance at this to roll the dice again and make the change. John, one of our earlier guests, turned around and said it's clear as day that, things aren't right at the moment. And that's exactly how I feel. I can't see improvements from Thomas Frank to Igor Tudor, and 1 point in 15 is clearly not good enough. Sometimes you need to hold your hands up. It don't matter whether it's football, life in general. We all make mistakes and we all choose wrong decisions, and we all hold our hands up sometimes and say, look, I got it wrong. But it's about how you deal with that situation now. Would you, as if you were on the board right now, would you make that change?
Yeah, I think I would. Only because of where it is currently, where we're sitting, international break, a couple of weeks without any games and that, it makes more sense. And also the fact, as sad as it is to say it, and I don't mean this to come across as disrespectful to Tudor and his family, but the man's just lost his dad. It's a terrible thing when that happens. Having gone through it, I know how awful a situation that is. The last thing that man needs is Tottenham. You know what I mean? I just think it would be the right thing to do, to release him from it, let him go away with a little bit of his own self-respect and his own pride, rather than being sacked. I think they should put it to him that, you should step down and take some time for your family and make that change. I never thought it was a good idea in the first place. Although I understood it, I thought to myself, it makes sense. You're trying to bring someone in who's going to specialise in the short term to get us out of trouble. The theory made a little bit of sense. For me, it was just a totally wrong appointment. I don't understand it. When you're in that kind of situation, you need club connections, you need Premier League experience, and the guy didn't bring anything of that. And if they was just expecting someone to come in and start shouting at people and they're going to stand up and take notice, that don't happen in the real world these days. These guys are multi-millionaires that have been pampered probably most of their lives through academies and so on. People these days expect different. The days of standing up to someone and shouting at them and telling them they're not good enough and that, and motivating them, that's long gone. That's long gone. And I think they made a big mistake here.
Do you think De Zerbi would be the answer, Lee?
Yeah, okay. So he's got some Premier League experience and stuff, and he's done some good stuff. Is he the right sort of character though? I know lots of people have talked about it. He doesn't have a Spurs connection or anything like that as well. Does that mean we're going to take him for the long term, which will probably still end up being a short term? That's the issue for me. I think the fans are kind of sold on the idea of Pochettino. I think that's what and that's for me, for ENIC, is the very, very last roll of the dice. Very last roll of the dice. Because I think after that, where do they go then? It's just, they've had so many years, 20 odd years. And I know it's all changing now with Vinay Venkatesham and all this sort of stuff, but it don't look a lot different to me, to be honest. And unless they're going to come out and do some massively big business in the summer, I can't see it changing.
Yeah. You're on mute, Chris.
Lee, thank you so much. Before you do go, tell everyone about your channel, because you're now doing daily content on this channel, but of course you run your own YouTube channel. Tell everyone about it and what they can expect.
Yeah, so decided to really push on a little bit more with my own channel, and thanks to Chris for letting me do a few slots on the old Spurs Chat Podcast. So Leader Dorset Spur, I'm everywhere on the socials under that name. You'll find me easily. Come along, say hello. I could do with the subs.
Yep. All head over to Lee, press that subscribe button. But Lee, thanks so much. And thanks for all the hard work you've been doing on the channel. Really appreciated. And we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Lee.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Right, we are running really behind. So I'm now literally going to give everyone a couple of minutes to come on. I don't want to kick anyone off and say, sorry, we haven't got time. So I'd rather get everyone on and just have a couple of minutes. We're going to start with Charlie. Charlie, you've got 2 minutes. Go for it.
Say it again, Chris. Sorry, say it again.
2 minutes. Go for it.
Right, here we go. This is what I'm best at. Giving quick speeches. It's been a really, really, really tough season, and since bringing in Igor Tudor, I really believed in Tudor. I like Tudor. I still do like him. I think he's, a top guy. Commiserations, really sad to hear that his dad passed away. And I'm not going to say I want him out, because I like his interviews. They make me laugh, When he went and shook all the reporters' hands, he seems like a really good guy, When the reporter asked him, "You can say anything you want, Nick," he said, "Is it done? Can I go?" I really like him.
It's about points, though, Charlie, isn't it? It's about points.
Pardon?
It's about points.
It is about points, and I think he's going to get points. That was a good win against Liverpool, but look, I can completely agree with Saki
Draw.
as well.
It was a
because
draw.
I think,
It was a draw.
Pardon?
It weren't a win. It was a draw.
Well, that felt like a win to me. I was with my friend who's Liverpool fan. He was like, I don't know why he invited me over because I'm just going to laugh at you at full time. And I was jumping. I was like, yeah, brilliant. But yeah, what has happened? You know, the only man I think who can save us is Sean Dyche. I think Sean Dyche is the only man who can come in and save us. He knows the Premier League. He's English, you know. I want Dyche, you know. I want Dyche to be the England manager because he's English, and you know I think he's a great guy. Look what he's done with Nottingham Forest this season. They've sacked him because he said, "I've got an 0-0 draw with Wolves." Wolves look like a super team. Look, if we can have the players Wolves have right now, the manager Wolves have, you take them because they're showing fight. Yet they're pretty much down. They are showing everything. They really, really want it. I look at us, we show nothing. Yes, all the fans show. I'm showing up early. I'm missing my football game because I want to show up and I want to get behind these players. Right? My football team lost without me, and then Tottenham went and do that. We shouldn't have come. I should have played football. I can't take it anymore. It's disgraceful. It's an absolute disgrace. And look, Tudor, I completely agree with fans saying sack him because ultimately it hasn't been good enough. It hasn't. But then again, I do like him. You know, I play Football Manager. I'm just starting getting into Football Manager. You know, I should be the next manager. You know, 4-2-3-1 inside fullback. Gen this one up. You get that there. You know, I know. Oh, honestly, you know, sign me up for it. I'd keep him up. All right, I'm a relegation master. With Leicester, I was 5 games to go, 6 points clear of relegation zone. And I kept him up. We stayed up by 6 points. Last couple of games, we won 4. We drew 1. One of the games actually beat Tottenham, who are 4th in this alternate reality. That I can't stop anytime soon. I think we're going to be out of Europe for a very, very long time. But yeah, you know, I think Dyche is the only man who can save us. End of the season, we need Poch. If we get De Zerbi, I'm going to be finished. I'm going to be coming on there and I'm going to be like, no, I'm not having this no more. I'm De Zerbi out and he hasn't even played a game yet. De Zerbi out. But I'm not Tudor out. I said I'm going to back Tudor, and I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to back him. We give him a 4-month contract. He's here to save us. Ultimately, we all heard Tim Sherwood say he can't win. Well, if he keeps us up now, he's won. Everyone's going to look at him. That's relegation master Tudor. Yeah, it's a difficult. It's tough, and I'm not happy. I'm really not.
Charlie, quick last one. Yes or no? Are Spurs staying up?
Oh my word! Are we staying up? We've got to believe. We've got to believe, haven't we? I can't just get any points, but neither can I see West Ham getting any. So up the Spurs. Let's do it. Let's get behind him. I heard Stu. I want to give a big shout out to Stu, who organised that brilliant event. He said, I forgot what he said. No, this isn't really good. Yes, no, I remember. Brighton, he wants us to do it again, and we should do it again. We've just got to get behind him. We've just got to support this team because it's a disaster. It's a disaster season. Like Amram said, this is a disaster season. But we've just got to support them. We've got to get behind them. We've got to stay up. I have big plans for my channel next year. I've got a new logo. I'm starting my own podcast. I'm doing loads. This is the first time I've actually come out and said it. I can't wait for it. I can't wait. If we're in the Championship, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to do a matchday vlog. I'm going to do the player ratings for you, Chris, like I've said. And that's it. I ain't gonna go on my phone for Tottenham. I'm going to be done. My mum asked me, if you go down, who are you going to support next year? I said, who am I going to support in the Prem? I said, I'll still support Tottenham. I'm not a glory hunter. I'll support my fantasy team, my fantasy Premier League team. That's what I'll be supporting. It's a disgrace. I'm really angry. It's not good. It has to change now. I spoke about my channel. Big changes coming next year. New logo. I think you're all going to love it. Go subscribe. Chris, thank you so much for having me on. I'm going to do my player ratings later tonight. Couldn't bring myself to do it yesterday, although I was cheered up by the Arsenal result. Shame about the Arsenal. That was good. But yeah, it's not a good situation. Dyche. We need Sean Dyche. If I had to sum up everything I said in 5 seconds, it would be, we need Dyche. Go subscribe. Thank you. Dyche, he's the man who's got to save us. I'm not Tudor out, I'm Dyche in.
I only asked for a yes or a no.
Pardon?
Charlie, thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Sean Dyche.
Cheers, Charlie.
Cheers. At least let's put a smile on our face. Right, we're now going to go to Jeremy. Jeremy, sorry for keeping you waiting. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, where were you talking to you from?
I'm in Wisconsin, over in the States.
Okay. How are you feeling right now, and how is it supporting Tottenham over there?
It's not great. Not great at all. I'm pissed about the whole situation. I've been a Tottenham fan for about 15 years. I've seen us lose 3-0 leads to a manager sitting in a jail cell, sacking Mourinho before a cup final, and this is still the worst I've ever felt about Tottenham.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more than that, Jeremy, to be honest with you. But it's part and parcel of being a Spurs fan, without a doubt. I mean, where do you stand on the whole Tudor debate? Do you think they should give him the rest of the season, or do you think they need to move him
Absolutely not. But I don't know who's going to come in and fix it either. Tudor clearly doesn't have the dressing room. Who else are we going to bring in, though? It starts from the board. The negligence that they had all the past few years. It's just terrible. They don't know what they're doing. And I don't know how you fix it at the moment either. I don't think we're staying up at all. I don't see where we're collecting any more points the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people feel exactly the same. One win could turn, the feeling around, I suppose. And I felt that, a lot of people felt that we turned the corner with that point at Liverpool. Even Charlie mentioned it there. He thought he called it a win. But it wasn't. It was obviously a draw. But, we've got a few weeks now before that Sunderland game. Do you think there's any chance that they're going to stick with Igor Tudor, Jeremy? Do you think we've got more chance with him or more chance with someone else?
I'd say somebody else, but I don't trust the board to make the right decision. So I have no idea what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's half the trouble, isn't it? None of us trust this ownership, this management, to make the right decisions, because they've just made bad choice after bad choice, haven't they?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Jeremy, I've got. Go on, Chris. Jeremy, I'm just really, I've got to ask: how does somebody from Wisconsin come to support Spurs? Are you in Milwaukee or somewhere like that, or a bit further?
That was exactly my question.
Oh, right.
I'm up in Green Bay. I don't really I'm a Tottenham fan. I played entire life, found them on the TV one day, and just knew that was my club.
Jeremy, who is the star player? Who's the star players at Tottenham? Who do you enjoy watching
currently? Well, when they're healthy, Madison, Kulusevski, Bergvall, Archie Gray. It's probably about it at the moment. Last year, Romero and Van de Ven. Can't stand him this year. Romero's one of the worst club captains I've ever seen. He's pointing fingers at everybody. He's not tracking back to prevent goals. The second goal yesterday, I put the entire blame on him. The second the ball went in, he just started putting his arms up, blaming others.
There seems to be a lot of criticism aimed at Van de Ven and Romero, particularly in recent months. Would you like to see both of them at Tottenham next season if we are in the Premier League?
Probably not Romero. I think he's had his chance as a club captain. He's failed. He's failed us miserably.
Yeah. Nothing much to be happy about at the moment, is there? That's the thing. Is not much at all. We just need a spark. And previously, in previous times, we've had Heung-min Son, we've had Harry Kane, we've had a Gareth Bale, we've had a Ginola. And I don't know where that spark's coming from at the moment, I'll be honest.
Jeremy, is your first time on this channel. Leave us with a positive, if you can.
If we manage to stay up, we'll have a much, much better year next year.
Okay.
I think we'll finally make a good hire. We'll figure something out. And next
we'll finish 16th. Yep, I like that.
Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us. And I'm sorry to rush you, but yeah, we've got a lot of people today. We haven't done a fan show for a long time, so that's why it's been so popular. But we'll give you a lot longer next time. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Sounds good. See ya.
Cheers, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right, we're now going to go to our good friend Noel in Ireland. Noel, how are you?
I'm in Alicante, Chris, actually, at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
When you were abseiling last week, actually, I went off to Alicante. And I have to congratulate yourself and Craig. And I saw your podcast. And I'm sorry for slagging you the last time, but it did look bloody scary. And well done. And that's the only positive I'm going to give you tonight, Chris, because this has sucked the life out of me. And I'm really looking at people like Melvin and, you know, the passion that he has for the club. And, you know, he's got it. Everybody's got it. You know, I've never seen such a a more trying to get the right words here. I really can't get the words, Chris. I'm absolutely gobsmacked, devastated. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that I'm always glass half full. And I still think, looking forward, I still think I can see the last day in the sky. Spurs and Everton and Leeds versus West Ham, and somewhere in that four, somebody is going down, and hopefully it's not us. And that's where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
And I've been saying it to you for a long. I mean, I've heard a lot of criticism of Romero tonight. I've been saying this for an awful long time. He has let us down very badly this season. To me, he's not a captain. He thinks he's a great player. He's a World Cup winner, but he doesn't have the basic art of defending. And I think sometimes Chris, he thinks he's that good. That he plays a spectacular ball. Tries to play a spectacular ball. When the obvious choice would be to pass it to somebody else. And he has really let us down this season. I know we've had a lot of injuries, and there's a lot of circumstances have gone against us. And we haven't got the rub of the green. But that squad shouldn't be. The games we've lost. I think we've lost 10 home games this season. 10 home games, unheard of. I mean, the last season at White Hart Lane didn't lose a game, and this is where we are now. So I'm really worried, Chris, pissed off like everybody else, and I really don't know what to say.
No, do you
Yeah.
think there's going to be a reset in the summer, even regardless if we stay in the Premier League? Do you
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a serious clear out. I said this a few weeks ago, Craig. I think actually, that the team next season bear very little resemblance. I think you're going to have to get rid of and Romero will be the first person out. He's not going to stay anyway. He doesn't want to stay. He's no interest in being there. See, I heard today he said we have to give 200% from now on. Well, 100% would be good enough if he had been doing it. He's lost 7 games this season. He hasn't been on the pitch. And I personally would play Danso instead of Romero, and I think I would go for Sherwood for the rest of the season. He's got the Spurs connection. He's got the passion for the club. He said he'd keep us up. That's a good enough reason to give him the chance. And it's a pitiful situation. And I remember 1977, and it was absolutely devastating at that time. But we didn't have social media. We didn't have all these chats. This is different now. It's getting very, very personal. We all love the club. I've told Chris many times, I've been supporting the Spurs since 1967, and some great days. And even we did bounce back after relegation, but this is it's just something so toxic. And the mistakes that have been, the board, I mean, absolutely horrendous. I mean, people have talked about it. Even nobody's even mentioned. In the last days of the transfer window, they let a forward, Dean Scarlett, go to Hibs on loan. Dean Scarlett hasn't been getting any games, but by God, he deserved a chance. He's a man that could possibly get you a goal. They let their top goal scorer go to and replace him with a midfielder who's been a disappointment so far and paying him a lot of money. So boardroom decisions and managerial decisions. And I personally didn't. I only saw the first half yesterday. I didn't see the second half, but I was following it on my phone. And 5 minutes into the second half, or whatever it was, we were 2 goals down. And then it was fighting fires after that. So I don't know where we're going, but I think it'll come down to the very last day. And I think the only thing, Chris, you said it earlier on, that Wolves, West Ham beat Wolves. That's not a certainty. Wolves are actually probably playing with more relaxation now. They're as good as gone, so that's not a certainty. Should West Ham beat them, they probably will. They probably should, and that will see us in the bottom 3. And Sunderland game becomes very, very crucial. Now, I think they could beat Sunderland. Nobody actually gave them any chance against Liverpool, but it depends on who the manager is and what team they put out, and everybody playing to their best, and not giving stupid goals away. I mean, I actually thought yesterday we were in that game, well in that game. I mean, how many corners had they in the first half? 8, 9 corners. And Nottingham Forest get the first corner, and then they get the second one a second later. And I mean, that's the simplest goal, Chris, that guy would ever score. I mean, there's six footers in that penalty area, and nobody is picking up a player. That's the very basics.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all played football. Some of us are not, we're not that good, but that was the first thing somebody said: get in his togs, stay in his togs. I mean, don't give him any room. Make it hard for him. We're making it easy for teams. There was nobody marking Gibbs White yesterday, and the last goal was, well, the game was up at that stage. So I nearly forgive the last goal, but the first two goals was an absolute giveaway. So I want you to ask me the question, Chris: are we staying up or not?
No, I'm not going to ask. I'm
Well,
not going to ask. I was just going to ask, how's the holiday going? And
it's lovely. I've got a bit of colour in my face,
I'm loving the new hairstyle as well.
Yeah, I've got a haircut as well, and really, really enjoy it. But Chris,
no, what I meant now is if you look in the camera, that plant is perfectly placed.
I never saw that, Chris. It looks like the man Jason Lee that used to play for Nottingham Forest.
It makes Craig very jealous.
You look like
I tell you, Chris,
Peter Snakebite Right. You do.
I was just going back to your abseil. I sincerely take my hat off to you because I saw you walking towards the edge, and I saw it myself. And I have two things I'm scared of: is heights, and the other one is claustrophobia. So I really think you did a great job there, and fantastic. Well done.
Thanks, Noel.
Do you know what, Noel? Thank you so much for your donation. And if
anyone was delighted to do it.
Thank you. And if anyone would like to donate to the London Ambulance charity, all of the details are below. And Craig and I very, very nearly bottled it. And,
Chris, I thought the best line of the whole lot was, I think I'll tell Sally that I did it and I didn't do it.
I told you.
That was Chris. That was the one. That was the one. I love that, Craig. That was a great line. That was a great line. I think Sally might have worked it out for herself.
The amount of people who said that line to me yesterday, saying, Craig saying, "Oh, I was going to tell Sally anyway. I've done it," and I was like, "Well, I'll tell her you didn't." But yeah, I couldn't have come on here. Honestly, I couldn't have come on here and said we didn't do it because
no, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have felt absolutely awful. But I'm glad I did it. I've just about stopped shaking. So. Yeah,
Chris, I actually said to you in the last podcast that it's hardly the Grand Canyon, but where you were standing, it friggin' did look like the Grand Canyon.
I know.
It looked very steep.
It's all well and good you on holiday there, Noel, saying it's not that not that bad, but it was.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you. I thought it was horrendous. I mean, I would be the same. I'm a card as well, so I would hate that sort of stuff. Chris, I think based on the fact that West Ham have got a very difficult run in as well, I think we will stay up by the skin of our teeth. And if we do, there should be serious questions asked, and the lessons have to be learned from this season, and there has to be a complete change in direction from top to bottom.
Yeah,
and get rid of a lot of. We used to talk of over all the years I've known you, every transfer window, we used to talk about getting rid of the deadwood. But some of the deadwood is some of the top players that we have. The attitude is there's something wrong, Chris, in the whole setup. And I really condolences to anybody that loses their father under whatever circumstances. But I think maybe, that he should do the decent thing and say, look, I can't concentrate. I'm after losing my father. It's a death in the family. And, to give you guys a better chance, I'm going to step away. And I think that's probably what will happen.
Yeah, perhaps it will be a mutual consent thing. We'll wait and see.
Well, Chris, I'm going to go. I might get talking to you before the Sunderland game. I think it's a game that, with the right circumstances, the right management, the players in the right positions, and I actually think if somebody could get show these players the like of what Melvin is saying and other people like him on the show, and what it means to these people and what it means to Tottenham, for people that support them. And like the 60,000, and there's like people like myself that only get to a game or two every season. And what this means, and are you going to let these people down? I think this is serious talking needs to be done to a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. No, enjoy the rest of your holiday and relax. And
yeah, well, Chris, you said actually it's bad for your health. I actually woke up this morning at 5 o'clock and I had a pain in my the very center of my body, and that's not good. When it starts affecting your health, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a pain in my arse yesterday, and it's called Tottenham.
Right. On that note, Noel, thank you so much. We'll speak to you soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks a million.
Right, we're now going to go to the US and speak to Scott. Scott, how are you? On mute, Scott.
Not doing too bad. I didn't watch much of the game yesterday because I was playing my own game. And I had a friend who's a Croatian on the other team, and he said, oh, we're already down 1-0. So then once I heard about the second half, I was like, I don't really want to watch it. It's kind of how I've been this season, not watching a lot of games.
So where are you with Tudor then, Scott?
Well, he's got to go. I was just listening to Pisano. He was pretty funny. I don't know about Dyche as a man manager. I've never really heard that. I always hear defensive guy. I've seen him a lot. I mean, with Burnley, it just seems there's always defense. But I don't know. I think Tudor's got to go for sure. There's got to be someone to pull the team together. And the one person who could pull us out of this was Xavi. And not playing him yesterday was ridiculous. I think that was the absolute worst decision to not play him again. He should have stuck with the same 11 he did for the previous game because they looked great. And he looks committed to the whole Spurs. I mean, you look at a lot of players like Romero and his jog back and giving up the goal. He doesn't look committed, even though a few games he did. I don't know where his head is at, but I just feel like he's got to go.
Scott, do you think we're going to get enough points to stay in the Premier League? Because we've spoken about it all night, and I've no doubt that we're going to talk about it for the rest of the season. And as some of the guys have already said and alluded to, this could go all the way to the last game of the season.
I think
are you confident?
I think we will. It's all about confidence. My team, and one of the thing I put for my headline, my team plays like Spurs so frequently. People, we're warming up, we look good. And then we get on the pitch, and it's like, I have this one guy, his name's Helmut, great guy, I love him. Great, we're passing, just warming up, looks great. He gave away the ball like 5 or 6 times yesterday. I was really, just because of nerves or people not in the right positions. And his switches at halftime, now this is, again, I didn't watch it, but you cannot put people in new positions. Because my team, again, yesterday, last 20 minutes were a disaster. Because everyone was just playing any old position they wanted, and we just looked worse and worse. We only lost 2-0. But I think he's got to go. The team needs confidence, and someone will get in there. I mean, right now is the perfect opportunity. I almost thought, Tudor's father passing, and I don't want to belittle that, was just an excuse because he just leave. But that's the perfect opportunity. He needs to be with his family. Let him go join his family because that's going to be, who wants this stress on top of that stress? I think perfect opportunity and bring in, I don't know about Sherwood. I think Sherwood's been gone too long. I think either you bring in Ryan Mason or Jermaine Defoe. Why not just bring him in? I think interims don't have to have the highest license. So why not him?
Scott, talking about Defoe, I've ever told you bear a striking resemblance to Willem Dafoe, the actor. Have you ever been told that before?
Yeah, I think it once. And I was like, okay, whatever. Well, I think he's like 20 years older than me, 10 years.
Younger.
Now I'm that age.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, well, thank you. I should be making bigger money. So I don't think money has anything to do with this. Anyone who's saying that just doesn't get it. They must not be on the pitch. I'm telling you right now, it is totally confidence. I don't think it's they don't care. Romero making that pass to the middle, which someone mentioned, I didn't actually see. It's just that I don't know where to go. I'm just going to pass it. That's what my teammates do. They just make these stupid passes. When I'm watching, I'm on the pitch and I'm running around. I'm like, okay, there's the easy pass to the wing, which was old Thomas Frank, which I hated his tactics. And you guys were absolutely right to moan about him. And I'm sorry I called you moaners for that. But he was at least a little predictable. They're going back to some of the things that were chaos ball under Ange. And I don't think he connects with the guys. Hard Ass was good at first because I don't think they respected Frank at all. I think that was a huge factor. But I think the hard ass idea was a bad idea. It was too extreme again. We just need somebody who knows the team, get in there, say, hey, we need to fight together. And I think they will play for the fans. But I think yesterday he effed it up when he changed it all around again. And who knows, he might have been getting messages that his father was having a problem. And he might have not really been thinking it through. I don't know. I don't know why he took off who he did. It was ridiculous.
Scott, last question, and I'm sorry to hurry you up. We're running so over time tonight. You mentioned at the start that you haven't really been watching the games. What was the last game that you watched all the way through? What was the last time that you really enjoyed watching Spurs and you had a smile on your face?
Okay, so that's complicated. So I did watch the Atletico game all the way through. We played well. I mean, well enough, as well as we could. And again, Xavi, right there in the center. He was controlling everything. Gosh, Liverpool, we should have won that game. I watched that one all the way through. But it's just been, sometimes if it's during my work, I teach, so I can't really watch just whenever. I mean, the kids are like, what are you doing, Miss Roselle? I'm like, oh, click, new window. But yeah, I if I know we're losing, I know we're doomed. So the last game I enjoyed was, God, I did not even enjoy the Europa final really until we won. That was painful. It was not good. God, when was the last time? Probably Ange Ball prior to Chelsea when we blew apart, blew everyone out.
I'd say Copenhagen. I'd say Copenhagen probably.
Oh, yeah.
4-0.
And okay, who was in that time? Wasn't that the 3 academy players who scored? Wasn't that Copenhagen?
Yeah, Van der Ven scored the wonder goal.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know who. Whenever we had those three guys, oh God,
yeah,
Dane Scarlett, that he scored those. That was the last one I really probably fully enjoyed. We need an academy player in the team. That's another problem. No academy players.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on. I could moan all day long.
I know. I think a lot of people could moan all day long, Scott. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll give you more time next time. Thanks, and we'll speak to you soon.
All right. See you later.
Cheers, Scott. Right. We're now going to go to Steve in the Czech Republic. Steve, how are you?
Sitting too close. I'm fine, yeah. Been a very interesting programme. Lots been said.
Who have you disagreed with, Steve?
Who I disagreed with?
Yeah, anyone you've disagreed with?
Although little Charlie wanting us to have Sean Dyche come in, but he's an entertainer. He's great. I don't mean Sean Dyche. I mean Charlie. Great entertainer. No, I mean obviously I was well in agreement with Melvin. He was very passionate. I didn't realise he was going to be quite so passionate, but I know exactly like a lot of people where he's coming from. But like you said, he's been watching this unfold for a long time. That's what makes it worse for everyone, isn't it? We've all sort of said about Enoch and not backing Poch, and the same sort of scenario happened again with Postecoglou not being back when we were looking like to kick on. And what amazes me is that we've got such a diverse fan base from all over the world, and the majority of fans seem to realise more the things that are wrong than the bloody board and the people in charge. You know what I mean? I know it's good with hindsight, you can say, but a lot of people have been saying things like, Frank should have gone in. I was saying in October, people were saying maybe earlier, and things like that. I don't mean exactly me, but do you know what I mean? So and why certain tactics are not going to work, are never going to work, and why did he change the formation on Sunday from the midweek game?
Isn't that worrying though, Steve? Sorry to jump in. Isn't that worrying that you mentioned Thomas Frank? I'd say a majority of the fans by Christmas, certainly I was probably Frank out in November because I could see with my own eyes it was never going to work. Tudor, it's just a string of bad decisions, and it's like it's sabotage. And it's so frustrating for me. It's like, why are you not listening to other people? Why are you that arrogant? Are you that arrogant that you think you're right and yet millions of people are wrong? It's staggering.
It is staggering. I mean, that's worrying in itself. Changing the squad, and a lot of people have mentioned the substitutions at half time. Absolutely incredible. But the thing that one of the things that the guy, what was his name, Salter said, that it was a question of small errors. For Christ's sake, if you look at all those goals, they are absolutely horrendous defending errors. Every one of them. The ball to the far post, no one marking. What's his name? Anyway, the guy who scored the header. I'm getting a bit tired now. We're an hour ahead here. And when that shot you showed of Gibbs White's goal, and you can see him there unmarked. Did you also notice there's another 2 players in the box who are also unmarked? Okay, they're further out in either corner, the 2 and the other guy on the other side. Mm-hmm. Bergwell's not picked him up. Nobody's picked up the 21. Do you know what I'm saying? It's we've got 2.
If you watch that, sorry, Steve, I don't know if it's in this first photo or not. Romero is, I can't circle him unfortunately, but Romero is kind of level with Gibbs White to his left. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, yes. I can pick him out.
He just jogged back and made no attempt. You watch it in real time. It was terrible from a World Cup winner.
But also coming in behind him there is Tell. Who sort of looks all round. He's running, but not very convincingly coming back. I know he did a lot of good work and everything, but we had 8 players in the box, and I think they had 4, including the guy who was crossing it in. I think it was Hudson-Odoi, I'm not sure. But like I'm saying, they're just not picking people up. But it's such, and he's saying there's small errors. This the guy who had to speak on behalf of Tudor, Salter, and the final goal. Although he had a pretty good game, and I don't want to, I'm not calling individuals out. I'm talking about the tactics and picking people up. The third goal, there's what's his name, Danso, is not goal side of the goal scorer, and also the other player is also in front of the defender, our defender, both of them. So even if the first guy hadn't got it, the second guy would have scored. If you play it out, he runs in front of the defender. I don't know who that is. The other one.
Fantastic cross.
It was a brilliant cross.
It was a fantastic cross. I have to say.
Both the defenders were not goal side, and bloody Vicario stuck on his line again when a ball was coming into his 6-yard box, which I can't stand as goalkeeping. But that's just by the by.
I think that's Archie. I think that's Archie Gray is the other one, possibly.
Probably there is, but if you look at the look at Vicario again on the left there with Bergwell, they're just I suppose they were trying to stop the cross coming in, but the 2 defenders are not goal side, so it's all basic stuff. And this guy's saying,
well, that's where the cross comes in. That's the point. The cross comes in. The cross isn't shut down. No. Danso, you could argue, is kind of got his man there, but he doesn't react quick enough.
But he's got behind him.
I think that's Gray. Gray hasn't, he's lost his man at the back post there, and well, we know what happens. Let's not go over it again. But
I'm just saying the fact that someone can say there were small errors cost us the game. Whether he speaks quite well in English, but whether he meant, the added things of there were some refereeing decisions that a lot of us didn't like. Romero getting pulled down in the box with something over his shoulder, and VAR don't seem to look at our calls for penalties. We haven't had a penalty all season, and that challenge on Archie Gray, they both slid in, but Archie Gray really came off worse. The guy hit him above the knee or roughly up by the knee, and there's no yellow cards given. We did have enough chances in not in Tudor's defence, but in defence of the team. I would say they just couldn't put the ball away, could they?
I don't know about that. I disagreed with Terry when he said that on the podcast after the game, because up until late on we'd only had 1 shot on target, and I don't think we created enough.
Header, though, Chris, there was a Richarlison's header where he should have got it on target and he headed it wide of the goal. I don't know. It was in the
but that's not on target, is it?
No, it's not on target. No, I'm saying they couldn't finish. We hit the woodwork twice. Okay, one of them was a dip in deflection, but the other one was the keeper pushing Tell's shot onto the bar. Maybe he meant by these small things that it caused us to lose the game. But the goals we let in are absolutely horrendous, as per usual.
Too many ifs, buts, and maybes. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. We're clutching at straws, but just trying to say something a little bit different than's already been said in the last 2.5 hours. Or, yeah.
Steve, we've got to hurry things along. So, final question: are Spurs staying up?
Yeah, just by the skin of their teeth. Hopefully, because like you said before, we can never. You can't say, "Oh, we're going to beat these," or "This is an easy game," because they're not. None of them are easy games, especially when we're playing anybody. So I did say before the game to a friend of mine, despite the previous 2 results, I'm still as bloody nervous as hell. I texted a friend of mine in London.
Yeah,
because of the way we've been playing. Anyway, great show, guys, and well done with the abseil. I wouldn't do that. I'm not great with heights. Not unless I have a few drinks. Maybe.
If we can do it, anyone can do it.
Thanks. Yeah. Maybe next time I'm in London, I'll have a
next
go.
time you're in London, we get Noel. He'll be up for it. You can do it, and anyone else who's a bit scared, come along. Me and Craig will show you how it's done.
Yeah, I'll stand at the bottom and film you.
Well done, guys. All right.
Yeah.
Great to see
right.
you.
Cheers, Steve.
Keep up the good
See you
work.
soon.
Cheers.
See you soon.
Bye.
Right, we're now going to go to Tim. Tim, evening. Sorry for keeping you waiting. How are you?
That's all right, boys. Same as everyone else, probably.
Yeah. Silly question.
Yeah, without swearing, because I could just probably swear for about 2 minutes straight. But I will say shit show, an absolute shit show from top to bottom, really. At no point in that second half did I think we were going to get anything out of that game. And I think I've said it so many times on this. I'm just, although I'm really angry about how I got in this position, I've lost all emotional I'm numb about quite how bad it is. And in a sense that they never seem to get it right. They find momentum from somewhere and then just throw it in the toilet. And I have no idea why they do it. And whether it's the board or the manager or the players, there doesn't seem to be anything going right for us.
Well, there was that real sense of belief, particularly after that, positive week, Tim. The point at Liverpool, everyone thought that it was going to be the turning point. And then that win, that performance, we haven't seen a performance like that for a long time against Atletico Madrid. So I think that everyone was sucked in thinking, right, we're all believing again. And then, like we mentioned already, that gathering of the fans, when the bus pulled up, it was incredible. And I think it gave people even more belief of like that togetherness within the fans. And, I think the fan base felt closer to the players because the players had come out and they've retweeted, what certain fan groups and certain individuals had put out. So there was this togetherness and, all the players were up for it saying, we're going to give absolutely everything. And now we're back here again. Can you see you feeling confident again that we're going to get results? Because, we speak to a lot of people and we're all, well, I think a lot of us are saying we don't know where our next point is coming from. I do actually think that this is going to go like to the final, 1 or 2 games. I really do, because I think that the results, not just Tottenham's, but the likes of Leeds, West Ham, Forest, I think that a lot of these results are going to be unpredictable. And when you look at the total of points won by the likes of Leeds, West Ham, even Wolves, we'll put Wolves in there. No one expected them to be picking up so many points in 2026. Spurs, of course, are the only Premier League team without a win in 2026. So I think a lot of these results are going to be unpredictable. But do you have enough belief that from now until the end of the season, we are going to be all right?
No, I really don't, because if they can't pick up from a good week and all of that happened on Sunday with the bus and the, down the high road and all the smoke and all the cheering, if it can't pick up from that with everything blowing in the right direction, then I can't see them doing it. Not in the terms of like, oh, well, it's all going to be a shit show from here. I just think it will be so inconsistent. I just don't think we'll do enough. I think it will go down to the last game or 2, but I just don't see how we're going to do enough under the current circumstances. Something has to change, and very quickly. I think one of the issues, I was trying to work out what was going on, because the game made no sense in terms of everything seemed to go in our direction, but there didn't seem to be any. I'm not going to say no fight, because there clearly was something, but just no sense of team. It just felt really disjointed. And I tell you what it is, I don't get a sense that anyone wants to take a risk. None of those players, except Archie. Archie seems to be the only one who seems to do something a bit different. I think the rest of them are petrified of making a mistake, particularly in our stadium. So they just play it easy. They'll play it safe, play it sideways, play the easy ball, and then blame everyone else when it goes wrong, like Romero has. And so, the whole idea of Tudor is to do is you might as well effing forget it, right? There is no daring and there is no doing. There's a lot of huff and puff, a lot of saying the right things. But in terms of how we are as a DNA of a club, it's just being watered down so much. We're kind of not even lily white anymore. We're kind of beige and horrible.
Can I ask both of you, Craig? Let's start with you. You can think about this one for a second, Tim. What improvements have you seen, if any, from Thomas Frank to Igor Tudor? He's been at Spurs now for over a month. He's managed 5 games in the Premier League. He's managed 2 in the Champions League. 1 win, 1 draw, 5 defeats. What improvements have you seen, if any?
Football's a results business, and you have to say none. The only thing that has improved is the running statistics, and the players are fitter and running further. But as for results on the pitch, nothing.
Tim, would you go along with that, or have you?
I'd say there's been a slight improvement in some of it, as in the Liverpool result and the Atletico result. But really, I've got to agree with Craig on there. It is a results business, and there's been no real great improvement. I suppose what bothers me the most is you hear interviews with players, oh, it's going great and we're getting together and it's all moving forward and it's all changed. And it hasn't. It hasn't, because as soon as the pressure got put on them with a goal, the back end of the first half, they folded. They went back to basics, which was just pass the ball sideways, don't try very hard, don't make a mistake, be safe. And then the substitutions were I don't know about you guys, but I was scratching my head going, what the hell's going on here? I mean, the starting lineup was like that, and then the substitutions were the same. It was I tell you what, it's a complete reflection of what's going on board level. It just feels like everything's been thrown up in the air. No one knows what they're doing. Everyone is panicking. Everyone's making really bad decisions, and that's on and off the pitch. And I wish I had something of what Charlie was taking, because that would make me feel a little bit better. But most of those players just seem absolutely petrified of what's going on as soon as it doesn't go their way, which suggests it's about leadership. But leadership both as the manager, but as the leadership group. And we can rattle on about people like Romero I do not think is a good leader. I think he's a terrible leader.
Just want to say a big thank you to Daryl, who has just donated to the London Ambulance Service charity. Thanks, Daryl, for all of your support. Nikki, watching on Facebook here, she says, I think the only risk takers are Archie Gray, Matisse Tell and Javi Simmons. They need to start every game while they were doing what they're doing. Do you agree with that, Tim?
Totally. It's the young ones. I tell you what, the older players should be effing embarrassed. I'm going to say it. They should be fucking embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. The only ones who are playing are the kids. Only ones who are really playing are the kids. I can't even work it out. The captain should be Archie Gray, but he's not going to get the respect of some of those older players. They are not playing, and it is an embarrassment. And she's right. Oh, sorry, he or she, whoever is right. That those ones, it's Archie, Tell, yeah, he's trying to, and Xavi's always putting a lick in, always trying hard, always wants to do something. And how can you go to a game where you need that 6-pointer to win with, I think, six defenders on the pitch, maybe 7, but certainly no real creative players? What an appalling thing to do. And I think in the end, I obviously feel really sorry for Igor, but it could be a blessing in disguise to say, off you pop, Igor. I lost my dad when I was quite young. and it's a really terrible thing to go for. And I don't want him. I don't think he's going to be in a position to manage club. So bring. My view is bring a dream team in to say, the best, the brightest, and the best we have within the club. Your Tim Sherwoods, Jermaine Defoe's, whoever you can get hold of, to literally get hold one-to-one with these players. If you need to get 15 of them, the people we bump into at the sort of club meetings and all those sort of things, the ones that come around, the legends, and to actually come around and actually do something different. Do you know what? Do something different. Bring a dream team of people in to actually somehow turn this round. Because at the moment, I do not see it happening. I really don't. I pretty much resigned myself to the fact that we're going to get relegated.
Yeah, I think I said that a lot under Thomas Frank, actually, about the whole daring and doing, and we're certainly not doing enough daring or doing. Martin says here, improvements. What improvements? Martin, I hope you understand. I've got to ask these questions to the guests because I don't ever want to be seen as I've got one narrative about a manager or particular players. So all the guests can come on and talk about whatever they want to talk about, but I'm always going to try and get positives out of people, and if they want to turn that around and say no, then that's fine.
I tell you what, the last thing it will save us, and I've got a number of friends who are West Ham fans, poor bastards, and they tell me the only thing that's saving Spurs is how crap West Ham are, and I hope they're right. That's
West Ham are going to get out of it, 100%. West Ham are getting out of it. We're going down, and that's all there is to it. At the moment, nothing's going to change. Nothing ever changes with this club because they never do the right thing, and they're going to reap what they sow. Enoch and fuck them, for want of a better word.
Pretty much the same, mate. Pretty much the same.
It has to change. It has to change for these remaining 7 games. Otherwise, I fear the worst. It has to change. Tim, thanks as always for joining us, and we'll talk to you at length next time. Thank you.
Been a pleasure, fellas. Have fun.
Cheers. Right. We're now going to go to Trevor. Trevor, sorry for keeping you waiting. How are you? Oh, you're on mute, Trev.
Sorry, yeah. Well, I would say not too bad, but I'm a bit heartbroken by all this, if I'm honest with you. This hasn't happened overnight. This has been since the Wembley days, to be honest with you, with bad recruitment, not backing the managers, and it's had the domino effect, and we're on our last domino now. You bring in good managers. You had good managers like Poch, Conte, Mourinho. Ange did a job. Through the history of these managers of the last 8-9 years, they want players. They don't get the players they want. This is why we can't push on. We've got a group of players now that I think are good enough to stay up. You got players like Richie and Solanke. They're used to being in these sort of positions. At Bournemouth, that was a yo-yo club when Solanke was there. Richie saved them, Everton, God knows how many times. But the quality is lacking. Romario, Van der Ven, they look like, I don't want to say they don't want to be there, but they need to be instructed better. They can't go past the halfway line. They've got to stop going on these mad surging runs and leaving everything open. It's round holes and round pegs. I just don't understand how we find ourselves here. Last season we were 17th. The writing was on the wall then. And we haven't improved. We've actually got worse. And since 2018-19, we have been getting worse and worse. We haven't got players like Kane and Son to rely on now to get us out of trouble. It's just relentless. The pressure on the players, the lack of confidence, there is none. We can't see where our next goals are coming from, let alone our next points. Apart from the Atletico Madrid game the other night, how many chances are we creating in a game? If you've got Solanke and Richie on there, Tell on there, you've got to give them 3 or 4 chances each. You can't expect them to have one chance and expect them to score. You know, there's just no momentum.
Trevor, what I said earlier about you know, the fans really getting behind the players and the team. It seems that a lot of people have come on here today, and I don't blame them because people are just saying how they feel. But it does seem to be a bit of a player bashing this evening of people really criticising players. But at the same time, although everyone is right to criticise how they have played and performed and underperformed, you know, let's say, at the same time, we've got to get behind these players to give them confidence and belief that we are going to get points in the next 7 games. It's a difficult situation for us all, isn't it?
Absolutely. But it's like a few of your guests have said, it's about having the right players on the pitch, like dropping Xavi. You know, he's had a tremendous game on Wednesday night. You drop him. You know, I personally can't understand how Polinia is not playing in this team. The security he would give someone like Romero and Van der Ven or Danzo or whoever they decide to play, sitting in front of them would give them confidence. You know, Gray has been absolutely brilliant. You know, I'm not player bashing here, but I'm not too sure what Sarr was doing yesterday, apart from running in circles. You know, it's like what Tim Sherwood said on Sky Sports today. It's just about getting them in shape and saying, you know, when you've got the ball, when you haven't got the ball, this is what you need to do. And
well drilled.
if you've got
making them well drilled, exactly.
Well, you can't just run around chasing the ball.
Yeah.
You've got to have some sort of positional sense, you know, the scanning and all that. You know, and it's like I say, it's heartbreaking watching them. Yesterday, you know, in the first half, they did put in a massive effort. You know, but there was a massive lack of quality. You know, you got Tell running down the line. You know, Richie was battling for everything. But you need a player that you can give the ball to and, you know, let him roll it to him. You know, keep giving him, you know, someone like Xavi, keep giving him the ball. If he loses it, he loses it. There's players there to get it back for him. Keep giving it to him and you know, something will happen. But there's not enough players there to actually make something happen, you know, for the crowd, you know, to get behind. You know, it's very, very one-dimensional. You're smashing long balls against two Nottingham Forest centre halves. They're going to win headers all day long. And that's what
Trevor.
they did. That number 5, is it Morelio? How many headers did he win? You know, because it's just hitting hope. There's just no structure.
Trevor, do you
know,
think
like I say, the substitutions yesterday were crazy. You know, I feel for Tudor at the minute, but you know, he just chops and changes the team. He doesn't know his best 11. I understand he's had injuries, but this comes from he doesn't know the club and he doesn't know that league. He doesn't know the players in the club and he doesn't know the players playing for Nottingham Forest, what they can do, for Crystal Palace, what they can do.
Yeah, Trevor,
You know,
do you think?
It's,
Do you
like
think
I say, it's heartbreaking,
Trevor,
and it's going one way.
Trevor, do you think?
You know, but on a positive note,
Trevor,
on a positive note, we've got 1 game a week when we come back in 3 weeks' time.
Trev,
so
Trevor,
there is time.
Trevor,
There's 7 games. There's 21 points.
Fucking hell!
You've got a week to prepare for each game.
Trev.
But you've got to know your best 11.
Trev, can you hear Craig?
No, I can't actually. Sorry, no.
Oh,
What was
that
Craig
explain
saying?
it.
I mean, I know he's distraught, you know, as much as all of us. But like you said, you know, you've got to have some
thought you
hope
was
here.
ignoring-
Otherwise,
I thought
you
you-
may as well stop watching football.
I thought he was ignoring me.
Craig, just be
Chris,
quiet,
can-
please.
What's he saying?
Chris, can you ask Trevor?
Oh, he's waffling. He's waffling
Does
as
he-
usual.
does he-
Go on.
I didn't even get to ask the question.
No, I can't hear him, honestly. I cannot hear a word he's saying.
Hold on, Trev. Hold on. Craig, go on. What do you want to...
Ask him, does he think if Mohamed Kudus comes, or when he comes back, is that going to change Spurs?
Mohamed Kudus, will we change things?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's got the heart for it, to be honest with you. If he comes back, put him on the bench. It's like yesterday. Look, Bergvall came on in that second half. They played him right wing. What are they doing? You know, he's obviously not fit. personally, watching the game yesterday, I don't think Solanke was fit either. You know, they've got to play players that are fit that can, you know, Kudus, another very like emotional player. If something doesn't go for him, he gets upset and he basically becomes invisible. You know, I don't think we can put him straight back in, if I'm honest with you, Chris. When he comes on, bring him on last 10 minutes, see what he can do. He's very good at one-on-one situations. But to start in that team at the minute with the confidence it's got, I wouldn't do that straight away. You know, they need to know how to use these players and when to bring them on. You know, Kudus has got a lot of ability, but I don't think he's got much heart. And, you know, I heard Craig talking about West Ham. You know, the West Ham fans will tell you that. He goes missing a lot. He's not one for a relegation battle.
Yeah. Trev, thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon, and hopefully you can hear Craig next time.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to hear what he has to say. But he needs to cheer up, tell him, you know, because, you know, we need to support him, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd rather support him in the Premier League than the Championship.
Yeah. Craig, you can hear Trevor, can't you?
I can hear Trevor, yeah.
So he said that you need to cheer up a little bit.
I know, I can hear him. He can't hear me. I heard what he said.
Wait, I can hear him on YouTube. One sec.
It was like that.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but it's like a 3-second delay, Craig.
It was like Alan Partridge.
Trevor,
Dan.
Craig said you look like his younger brother.
Look, I don't want to be part of the Tudor club. You know what you mentioned. I want to be in your club, Chris, of the Pochettino club. Yeah, I don't want to be part of the, you know, the Driscoll brothers, the Tudor brothers.
Yeah,
you know.
I can't tell you what else Craig said. It might cause a fight, so we'll leave it there. All right.
All right. Yeah. You know where I am.
Such a shit stir. Honestly, such a shit stir.
All right. Like I say, up the Spurs. Come get behind them. You know, it is bleak, but we need to carry on what the supporters were doing yesterday. That was the only bit of enjoyment I got from the game. Seeing, rather than the fans boo at half time and, you know, boo at full time, you know, they cheered, they supported. And that's the only way to go forward with this.
Yeah.
You know, we're going on about managers. You know, I'm not hearing Mason. You know, I think personally, from hearing what Sherwood said earlier, like, you know, putting people in line, you know, showing them where to be. You bring him in, you bring Mason, you bring Defoe. It would be a great, you know, he'd give confidence to any striker. You know, bring in someone like Ledley King. You know, Ledley King would be able to show players like Romero, players like Van der Ven how to behave, you know, because these two wouldn't even lace his boots and he was only 50% fit. These are the people we need in that training ground, telling them what to do, how to behave, you know, not to go past the halfway line. You know, don't try and take 3 players on or play a ball straight through the middle of the pitch when there's 8 people congesting it.
Trev, Craig just said he disagrees with everything you said, but
I
agree with you.
You know, it's okay, fair. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I know. I'll tell him. All right,
take it easy.
Cheers, Trev.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
See you later, wanker.
I forgot who can hear what. Right.
That didn't half make me laugh. Honestly, I felt like Alan Partridge there. Dan!
Just being ignored. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's like being at home. I am at home.
Darren, USA. Darren, how are you? Darren, you're on mute as well.
There you go. I'm better now. I had a good laugh.
Can you hear Craig?
Probably, but
can you hear me?
I keep my options open. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
you can hear me. Lovely.
Yeah. I was going to say it must be past your bedtime, Craig. You're getting a bit grumpy. So
Will just said Chris is an awful friend. I'm not your friend, Craig.
No. See, he's a colleague.
Darren, how are you feeling? It's nice to have a laugh at least, but we're still in the same position, so we shouldn't be laughing.
Well, first of all, can I say thank you, gentlemen? I know you're well over time. When you sent out that email, said we're going for 2 hours, I thought, oh, you'll be lucky. But I do appreciate what you do here. The Spurs Chat Therapy podcast is crucial for all of us. So thank you for all your work.
It's funny you say that, Darren. It's hard. I mean, I know we moan about it and we do have a laugh, which is great, but it is hard to sit here and listen to guest after guest after guest moaning, and which is right because we're in a shit state, but it's hard being a Spurs fan right now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and I think part of the problem is none of us have really the answers. I mean, we'd like to think we do, but we have all got our opinions, and maybe some of them are good and some of them are bad, and there's no magic wand here that fixes all of this and makes it go away, and we're not going to all agree 100% on what the way forward is. So that's what makes it really tough.
Yeah. Would you see Tudor out to the end of the season, or would you think we need to make a replacement?
I'm always one of the ones who's very reluctant to chop and change, but I mean, I think if you are going to make a change, now's the time to do it. With the international break, the problem is I'm not convinced that anyone comes in and makes a difference. I've sort of my heart was bring Harry Redknapp in, but my brain says that's probably a terrible idea. So again, it's that. Well, I don't have an answer, but yeah, if you're going to change it, if you're going to get him out, do it now, because if you wait any longer, and it's pointless. You can't bring someone in with like 2 games left to play and think they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Craig, you didn't get the joke earlier when I said Craig isn't my friend. You're not my friend because you're my dad. Remember?
Yeah, that's right. Can't choose your family, can you?
Well,
no, quite
there
right.
You go. There you go.
That was. Did you hear it earlier, Darren? That story?
No, I missed out on that one.
Right. Well, me and Chris were jumping off. We just jumped off the south stand, right?
As you do.
And yeah, as you do. And Chris got a guy come up to Chris, and I was standing there with Chris's friend Jen, and we're slightly standing at one side, and they're sort of, I don't know, about 5, 6, 7 feet away. And the bloke asked Chris, "Are you here with your parents?" Pointing at me and Jen.
Yeah.
Oh dear. We'll have to get some Justin men for your beard.
I know, but even when I do that, like Gary Maloney always says to me about dyeing my beard. I don't know. I get piss taken out of me for that. So you can't win, can you?
Oh,
Darren, what else do you want to say about this current situation at Tottenham, and do you think we're staying up?
I wish I could say something that hasn't been said already, but there's nothing there. Honestly, my absolute honest to God feelings are we are in deep trouble, because a lot of people, we've spoken a lot about the players, and you're saying player bashing and whatnot. I do think a lot of the players are not stepping up, and I don't know how you change that. Like when one of your youngest players, Archie Gray, is your biggest, thing to call out. That's your brightest spot. Something is terribly wrong. So in my heart, again, I keep going to heart and head. My heart says, we stay up. My brain says we're in deep trouble. We're going down. And honestly, if we stay up, it will be because other teams are crap, not because we're good. Every time I think, we can get a result out of this game, I'm proven wrong. Having said that, if you want to take some kind of positive or silver lining, then it would be beyond Spursy just to, get to the last day and make it by the skin of our teeth. So I just don't know.
That. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. But what can you do? I mean, I've gone through all the emotions. You know, you see people joking online about the 5 stages of grief and all that. You know, I think we're all there. You know, we've been through the anger and the pleading and everything. You know, and what can you do at the end of the day? Just keep supporting the team, and we'll end up where we end up, and we go from there.
Yep.
Darren, thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully we can talk about some more positive things next time you're on.
Yeah, like you know, Craig can lose a few years and become younger and not be your dad, mistaken for your brother instead or something.
Never.
See you later, Darren. Cheers.
Cheers, Darren.
Bye.
Right, we've got another Darren waiting in the waiting room. Darren, if you turn your camera on, we'll get you on as the last guest.
Chris, there's just been a tweet by Fabrizio Romano. He said Roberto De Zerbi has always been a main candidate for Tottenham job in the summer if Spurs stay in Premier League. Top target as always reported since he left Olympique Marseille. With Pochettino another name on shortlist. De Zerbi Spurs currently only a topic for June. So that's interesting.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, he actually retweeted one of his old tweets from a couple of weeks ago about this as well. Yeah, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. It doesn't look like Darren's going to turn his camera on. Now, what I wanted to ask everybody who is watching and listening is tell me who has been your favourite guest today. Who has been your favourite Tottenham fan and who mirrors your opinions and feelings right now on Tottenham Hotspur? Let us know in the comments. Just while I talk to Craig for a couple of minutes. Craig, it's we plan to do a 2-hour show. It never goes to plan, does it? It's been 3 hours, over 3 hours, and I feel like everyone feels exactly the same. I feel like the majority of people. I think there's been actually, was there one? I think it was Charlie who said about he didn't want Igor Tudor to go, but then he was talking about Sean Dyche, so I suppose he does. I feel like a lot of people feel exactly the same.
Yeah. I think we all feel a bit lost at the moment. I think that's fair to say. Just want something good to happen, pretty much.
Yeah, there's a good few shouts of Melvin. Melvin certainly give a very passionate speech. Mary says watching on Facebook. Nikki also on Facebook. Melvin, Daryl. Melvin, Phil on Facebook, Melvin. Yeah, Melvin's definitely the favourite. We are going to go to our last guest of the evening. We're going to go to Darren. Darren, how are you?
Yeah, hiya, Chris. Hiya, Craig.
How you doing?
How are you feeling right now?
Not too bad. Yeah, so, Chris, the point is, so many of us, and I can't blame anyone, are looking at the past and are making assumptions that Thomas Frank wasn't good enough and Igor Tudor wasn't good enough and the board has messed up. But the thing is, we got 7 games left. And if we do our best in those 7 games, we will survive. That's why Tim Sherwood said this afternoon on Sky that he would keep us up. And I know why, because it just takes the right manager to come in, get the best out of people. We know Glenn Hoddle always said that when he was manager of Tottenham and England. Get the best out of people and play players in the right positions, have the right tactics, simple, 4-4-2, none of this stupid nonsense about different systems that Tudor's doing. And then we got a really good chance to survive. I'm sorry to say that Tudor has made so many simple mistakes as a manager, playing the wrong players in the wrong positions, making the wrong substitutions at halftime like he did yesterday. These are just schoolboy errors, and he has to go. He's just not a good enough coach. I'm surprised he's lasted in other games or in other leagues, rather, with Juventus, etc. He's just not a good manager.
Perhaps he's better built for Serie A, though, Darren.
It may be, Craig. It may be, because our league is more difficult than any other in the world. And to expect him to come in, manage us at this difficult time is really hard. So And I hear now we're looking at the ex-Monaco manager. You made the right point, Craig, that how good can he be if he's been out of work since October? So we mustn't even think about going there. We've got one last throw of the dice. And in my view, you've got to go for a man manager who's going to get the best out of our players, because our players in 7 games should be able to get enough points to get us over the line. You know, if you think about it, gents, if we had like a Tim Sherwood together with Harry Redknapp or Glenn Hoddle for the Crystal Palace home game, the Fulham game, yesterday's game, that's 3 wins. We'd be safe now. But
that's a lot of that's a lot of ifs and buts, though, Darren. What you know, because I said earlier, the 4 games that we've lost under Igor Tudor in the Premier League, we've been very well beaten. So how does he turn this around? Because he speaks about, you know, training, he speaks about running. Yeah, Craig was, you know, absolutely spot on earlier about the running stats and everything have been better, but it's not about running stats. It's not about any of these stats. The only stat that ever matters is you know, the scoreline and the points on the board.
Of course, Chris. And you have to entrust that to a person that will do the right things. So you're right about ifs and buts, but if we had the right person in charge for the games that we've lost, we wouldn't be where we are. It's not rocket science. That's why.
You just said if again.
Yeah. Well, assuming, Chris and Craig, we get in someone like Tim or Harry, Glenn, or whatever, we then would have proper man management of these players to get them G'd up enough, play with their philosophy, which is the correct Tottenham philosophy, and I believe we will get enough points. We have to.
Yeah. I'm just hoping and praying at this point, Darren. I can't sit here and say that I'm confident about picking up points in these remaining 7 games, and that's really painful for me because I like to be someone who's really optimistic and someone who's very positive about the club. And you know, I want to be sitting here saying that I'm highly confident that Spurs are going to be playing in the Premier League next season. But from what I've seen in recent weeks, and this is why I am very passionately saying Spurs need to make a change. And I said it even after the Atletico Madrid away defeat with the way that he dealt with the Kinski situation. And there's been lots of things that I haven't agreed with. And like you've just said, we have the opportunity, we have the chance. You know, while we've got 7 games left, don't leave it any longer, because we lose our next game and then they make a change. It's going to all be, you know, it's going to all be panic. And, you know, while you've got this time, make that change.
Chris, for sure. You've got 3 weeks. Okay, most of the international players won't be able to take part in training sessions because they'll be away on international duty. But get a new man in now to start planning, work with the lads that aren't on international duty, and start planning and bringing your philosophy, which is the correct type of philosophy you bring in. Someone like Tim, etc., and make the change now. We've got 7 games. We can still do it if we make the right choice. That's the important thing. We made the wrong choice with Tudor. We could see it immediately, Chris, the first game that we played against Woolwich Arsenal.
Yeah. Kevin writes here. Guys, please keep the faith. It will turn. Kevin, I hope so. I hope so.
No, we have to believe. We have to believe, Chris.
Yeah. Darren, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that now we can't think of what the board should do and can do. We got to survive firstly. So we've got to focus on these next 7 games to get us over the line in May. If we do, and I pray that we do, then I think that's the time that we need to sit down and look at our structure from top to bottom, change where it needs change, and there's lots of change that has to happen at our club. But one of the main things is recruitment. You know, to think that we've spent as more than Arsenal have in the last couple of years, and look where they are and look where we are. It's not for want of having ambition. We've spent a lot of money. We just haven't spent it properly. So get the right manager in, invest in the right place, superstars. You spoke earlier, Chris, about Ginola and, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. Yeah, Jurgen Klinsmann. We've had great players. I mean, when I was growing up, it was Glenn Hoddle. I mean, probably the greatest midfielder that's ever played for Tottenham, I'm sure. Don't believe anyone's better than him. And, do the right things, look at everything in the summer, and let us rip up what's happened in the last 25 years and move forward as a big club, as an elitist club that we are. But now, 7 games, survival.
Yep. Darren, thanks so much for joining us, and we will talk to you again very soon. Thanks for your positivity.
Thanks, Greg.
Cheers.
Come on, Cheers. Spurs.
Craig, how do you summarise the fan show this evening? 3 hours 15. We spoke to a lot of people from all over the place, and we say this all the time. The reach that this podcast and this fan show has, the amount of countries that we go to, the amount of different people that we speak to. But it's fair to say that, most of the opinions, if not all of the opinions this evening, have been pretty similar.
Yeah, it is amazing. Never ceases to amaze me, actually. But I think the overriding feeling from a lot of people, the majority of people that come on tonight, is that the club have got to make a change and the last throw of the dice. I think most people are in the camp that Tudor has to go. I think there's a difference of opinion as to who we should bring in, but it's going to be an interesting international break. I think they've got to do it before this weekend if they're going to do it, because they'll have 2 weeks then to work with the players that are there anyway. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, it's been a funny show.
Last question for you. So Noel brought it up. And saying the funny moment about you saying, I'm going to tell Sally I've done it anyway. So what else have you done in your life where you've told Sally you've done it and you haven't?
The ironing, the washing. There's probably a lot.
Right. Craig, thank you so much. Thanks for joining, everyone. And remember, if you'd like to come on a future fan show to get things off your chest, please send us an email, tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com, and we will put you on the list, so you'll get the invite for the next fan show. It'd be great to talk to you. Thanks so much to all of the people that did come on the show this evening. Thanks so much to all of you for watching and all of you for listening as well. Remember that all of these shows are always streamed on YouTube, on X and Facebook Live, also available on YouTube to play back at a later date, and also on all major audio platforms. So thanks so much for all of your support. I know it's a lot of the same people commenting, so it's great to have you with us throughout the whole of the show. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Stay safe and well, and come on, you Spurs.